All right, people. What's good with you? Hope everybody's well. All right. Come on. Here we go. All right. Welcome back to the Onyx Report, where we as black male justice advocates uplift black men and boys using critical analysis. Got a lot of people in the house early. Glad to see. What's up to Smooth Prof? What's going on? Rogue Pill, what's up? Let's see, we got Dark Room Society. What's going on? Hope you're well. Okay, let's see. Shout out to KASL or Kaz Lieutenant. I don't know how that is, but what's up? What's up, Douglas? What's good with you, Douglas? Let me see. Dolomite, CM Ben. Let's see, Ad White. Got Dark Mage in the house. Mark, what's going on, Mark? Let me see. Unsat Marine. Let's see. Barry, shout out to Barry, and of course all the support that he extends to the channel. Hope you're well, good brother. Arena, what's up? Got Robert. Let's see here. On the clock, what's going on? He says Ados, Kansas City in the house. What's up? Inner Light Radio, shout out to Inner Light Radio. Make sure y'all support black-owned online radio station, rooted in Southern California. Hope you're well, good brother. Saint Cyr, what's going on? We got Yami, Longo, what's up? Omari, Indigo Flow, what's going on? Jason in the house. Shout out to Spain Man. What's good, man? He says, thanks for taking another one for the team, man. I was not in the mood, boy. I'm telling you. Horowitz, what's going on? Ramses, what's up? Kirsten. Got Nightfall. Shosholoza. I know I butchered that. What's going on? Mr. Blue Collar, what's up? Nightfall. Got a number of people in the house came through early. Like, share, subscribe, join, donate, hit the hype button, support the show so we can continue to bring you these independent black male thoughts. Shout out to Barry for dropping the first one today. Says, thanks, Doc. A little something for the collection plate. I know it couldn't have been easy sitting through that movie. Buy yourself a stiff drink. Yes, sir. Much appreciated. What's up, Prince? Okay, we got a few more in the house. Brandon, appreciate that support. Says, back in the house. Bad guy in here, appreciate that. Says the only way to win is to stop playing. Too watchful. What's up? It says make people mad, please. Thank you. AB in the house. What's up? Y'all make sure you support the AB Media channel. Go over there and check him out. Subscribe. Got Jason in here. What's up? No, my book is not on Spotify. I did not do the audio component to that. And I've just really gotten into audiobooks, so I'm starting to appreciate it, but I haven't done so. Harvey, what's up? D Jackson, what's going on? ID Boar, what's up? Barry with another drop. Thank you. Says, only thing we need to make dead, real dead is anti-black misandry. For real. Absolutely for real. Joey, what's up? See me in the jail. Let me see. Creative Force. Shout out to Horowitz. Says, I've said it before, but it looks like Vivica is going to turn that hate for 50 Cent into pure Oscar bait. Well, she tried. I'll put it that way. Indigo, appreciate the drop. Says, hey, Doc, how hard was it to get through this flick? Yeah, it was interesting. Shout out to Dr. Thunder. What's good with you, man? The Golden Child, what's up? Well, without any further ado, I'm going to bring up some of the cats that are here. I invited a number of cats, but with all the schedules we got going on, we'll see who pops through. Appreciate that drop. Jelani, what's going on? Says take care of your mental health. Yeah, especially since broadcasting every day, it can get there. But let me go ahead and bring up, we got 3 in the house already. So I'm going to bring in the good Layman's Journal, my boy Greg, and my boy Malika. Go ahead and bring them up here. What's good, fellas?
Peace.
Good,
Peace.
Doc. Good to be here.
What's good with you, man? Shout out to Mr. Blue Collar. Appreciate that support. It's therapy money for enduring this catastrophic film. And shout out to Wrench Turner, who dropped a little bit. Says my lady ordered the Onyx coffee mug for me. It delivered last week. Appreciate that. Tell her I said thank you. Yeah, fellas, man. I want to thank each of you for going through this. I had a chance to listen to Layman kind of go into it a little bit on his channel. And make sure y'all support the Layman's Journal channel. Get over there, subscribe, and definitely connect with his Patreon. Because I'm waiting for the next film review over there, man. That's what I'm waiting on. So I'll let y'all know straight up. I'm a huge supporter of the Layman's Journal channel. Y'all need to definitely check it out. Shout out to Gorilla. Appreciate the support. It's a salute. I couldn't watch it. Big ups. But yeah. All right. As far as this is concerned, man, I guess we start with the basics. We can look over at the basic film information as far as Is God Is on IMDb and whatnot. But before I pull that up, I just want to ask, is everybody good after watching that? What's just your mental health status after watching the film?
No, I'm still pissed off. I'm mad. Oh man. I knew the film was 90 minutes long, but it felt like 4 hours. Oh God. When the credits rolled, I never ran so fast out of a theater. Never in my life. It was the absolute worst. Everybody was still sitting anywhere like they were posting credit scenes coming up. I didn't want to know. I had to get out of there. I mean, there's so much stuff I have to get off my chest regarding that film. I've been holding my tongue until this day.
I concur, sir. I concur. Man, Layman, Doc, Greg, I was the first person to leave out the place. And all I kept saying to myself, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. And I was just shaking my head and laughing. I was like, wow.
Man.
Layman, you called it the hip hop version of Color Purple, right?
Yeah.
And I, like a lot of people were saying, like, Color Purple 2.0. I said, no. The Color Purple 2.0 was the Woman King.
Okay.
This is the Color Purple 3.0.
Well, really, Precious.
Yeah, I would say this is the Color Purple 5.0.
No. This is like the 37th entry in the Color Purple franchise. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, if Alicia Harris, who's the producer, director, and writer of this dribble, right?
Yeah.
You could not cut and paste anything even more because Sterling K. Brown, who gave a great performance as a great villain, he's called Monster. And I said, how can it be even more obvious, Mister? And I was just like, right. Come on, really? Because I'm like you, Doc. I go on IMDb and I check and I just see what's going on, and I see everybody has these titles. 2 titles stuck out to me. Of course, Sterling K. Brown's title as The Monster.
Yeah, we're gonna get there in a second. We're gonna get there.
I'm sorry, brother.
I'm just all
amped up.
I get it. Greg, how is your mental health, man? How you feeling after this?
Well, this is, like I said, it's the 37th entry in the Color Purple franchise. It's nothing new.
No, it definitely isn't.
It didn't move the needle.
And thankfully, I hope Layman will be willing to walk us through how it actually did, because he did a great breakdown on his channel on it, and I was glad to hear it, man. I really was, because sometimes these things, you never know when they're going to take off. Now, I can say there was only about 8 odd people in the theater I was in. And the weird part, is now, first of all, a movie like this in Fresno, just because it's black, you're lucky if it gets a week. That's just the nature of Fresno. But they put it in the absolute smallest theater. I didn't go see it until yesterday. So they put it in the smallest actual theater in the whole building. And it had maybe like 8 people in it. And they were all over 50 with gold braids. And just like the ladies in this picture.
So they did some cosplay.
I guess they did some cosplay. They were older women who you could definitely hear cheering at the most violent part. Well, it was consistently violent, but they cheered at all of it. Yeah. And this was and that energy, it was interesting because years ago, when I remember going to see Color Purple in the 80s and some of the subsequent films, there was a lot more support for that kind of thing. So I was surprised to just see 8 old women in there cheering. So I'm hoping that's some kind of testament to this, anti-black misandry cinema aesthetic, but we'll see.
Yeah, I had the same experience. They showed it in the janitor's closet at my house. So I was happy to see that.
Right. Because when in the 80s it was a Steven Spielberg film, so everybody was going to watch it. Now, so this is Alicia Harris. This is the writer, the director of the film. There she goes. I think I was told she was Trinidadian. I'm not sure.
Her mother is Trinidadian. I think her father is American.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So director, writer, and we can go straight down to some of the some of these images. But just to look at the cast, so you have Cara Young playing Racine. Actually, I saw Cara out of makeup. I hadn't seen Mallory out of makeup. Oh, okay. Mallory Johnson plays Anaya. You got Vivica Fox, of course. Sterling K. Brown, who I gotta say, man, in 2026, when you still playing Mr. roles, I'm like, come on, man, why? Just why? Why would you even give your name to this? And I got an interview where he talks a little bit about it, but I was disappointed. Janelle Monáe popped up in there.
Instant red flag.
What'd you say?
Instant red flag.
Yeah, really. Yeah. She's on whatever anti-black misandrist train is going.
Also, her girlfriend was one of the executive producers.
Oh wow.
Oh, she's still doing that thing, huh?
Tessa Thompson was one of her. Tessa Thompson's one of the executive producers.
Oh, that's her girl.
Yes, and the producer list is nothing but a bevy of women. So now you know how the anti-misandrist feminist wheel gets rolling.
And we're going to look at that list in a second, but I forgot Tessa was her girl. Tessa, for anyone who might forget, is now currently the Queen of Asgard in the Marvel movie, the Marvel MCU. So, or I guess she's the King of Asgard. Excuse me.
There you go.
She's the king. I always butcher his name. Is it McKelty? McKelty Williamson? I think
McKeith Williamson.
Huh?
McKeith Williamson.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I've been watching this brother since the 1980s. When he was doing Wildcats with Wesley Snipes and Goldie Hawn. I love the brother as an actor. The film choice in this regard I can't speak to, but you got Erica Alexander, and a lot of young faces that I wasn't familiar with. There you go. So, and we can pop through, and I want to get to the producers before we dive into this because I didn't know Tessa was one. It's always good to take a look at who's doing all of that stuff. So here we go.
And the Bravo woman at the top, that was I think Brett Gelman's ex-wife.
With Bravo, said Bravo woman?
The woman at the top, the producers list.
Oh, okay. My bad. I thought you meant the top of the page.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think that's Brett Gelman's
okay.
wife.
That's whose wife?
Brett Gelman's ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
Guy from Stranger Things.
Okay. I don't recognize any other name other than Tessa Thompson, but this has her vibe all over it, so it's not surprising to see her there. I really didn't even like her in the Creed series. I mean, she's pretty, but short of that that black feminist vibe, I'm allergic to. So, but yeah. So we got the basics as far as that. But does anybody want to chime in about the actors, about the producing, the directing, the writing, anything before we delve into the actual story?
I talked about The Color Purple on my show in comparison to this, and with The Color Purple, even though that was trash, it was at least well done, well produced, well directed, well written, well cast. I mean, from an artistic point of view, it was a good film, artistically and only artistically. Substance-wise, it was garbage. But the thing that bothered me about this is that it failed on both ends. The narrative was bad, and the screenwriting was just absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yes.
I mean, clumsy, delivered bad, just everything was bad about it. Sometimes it was just incoherent. I said that, I think it was on Twitter somewhere. I said, the movie felt like a trauma dump. Just Misandrist rage corn. Everything that Casey was angry about, the characters just threw out there. It didn't matter if it had context. I mean, there was, I don't want to get ahead to myself, but the Janelle Monáe character, how, I don't want to get there, but I thought it was really lazy how they turned her into the villain. Like, there was no build up to that. It just happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is there 20 minutes of movie I didn't see? They just jumped into this?
Can I admit to that? This is where you have this context where you see where women are just emoting. They're not giving any context to anything. Like, I know I might be jumping this, but we know that Sterling K. Brown's character, Monster, but I said this I had talked to my mom about this. I said, okay, we know he's the bad guy. Why? Why is he psychotic? We don't know any backstory. He's just evil for evil's sake.
Exactly.
And here's where we have this big problem within our community, that somehow this guy is evil. Like, when you do your stories, Layman and Dr. T, about maybe it might be person-on-person DV, and somehow the man does something, and it says, okay, well, what happened to her? Or if the woman did something to a man, it's always characters, oh, well, maybe he did something. What did he do? I'm like, how come if the woman does something, we're going to say, well, maybe she was troubled, maybe she was suffering from PTSD. We can give a laundry list of certain things, but if it's the man, he's just evil for evil's sake.
Well, and I want to actually say that when you look at the screen right now for IMDb, and you look under Sterling K. Brown for the name of his character, right? So everybody else has a name: Racine, Anaya, Ruby. For him, it's man. Now we know in the film, he's talked about as a monster, but notice that they've named him man.
You know what that is?
He's not even Robert or whatever. You know what I mean? Just man.
You know what I put that down as for, Dr. T? He's the metaphor of the big brush that black women paint for all of us black men. That's why there's no name.
Yeah.
It's just man or monster. So that's the symbolism and the metaphor for who all we are. We are this one big monolithic monster or man or mister.
Right.
And everything that he's supposed to embody, good, bad, or indifferent, because the character is charming. Because remember, he's smiling. They say he had this beautiful white smile.
Right. Teeth.
Everything about him was good looking. Everything was orderly. He was very calculated, maniacal, even very narcissistic. But when it became brutal. We seen it. So it's lumping all of us in there. We can be charming, we can be good looking, we can have the greatest things, but we're somehow some crazy narcissistic slave drivers, and all these things that is encompassing that we're just going to put this big label on all of us.
Right.
Like I said, this big paintbrush that's been put upon us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's consistent, but I do want to ask this, and we might as well get it out the way now. What does it say if the movie doesn't do well? Like, Layman, if you could do us the courtesy of breaking down, like you did on your show, the status of the film. You know,
right now it's at $2.7 million. $2.7 million. Now I don't know; they don't have the budget details here.
Mm-hmm.
But
14 million.
Say what?
14 million. That's how much the budget was.
I'm glad you said that.
Damn.
I'm glad you said that.
Damn.
You know what? Because here's the thing, you know the rule is for a film to break even, the rule is 2.5.
Uh-huh.
So whatever the budget is, you have to make 2.5 times that amount.
Uh-huh.
So we're looking at what, maybe 35 million to make even?
Uh-huh.
And they made 2.7.
Wow.
So this is already a loser. And because the film is so focused on one particular demographic and it only really applies to one country, you can't sell this slop internationally.
Wow.
So it's already a loser. And I was asking myself, I mean, the producers, whoever put this film out the studio, I don't know who it was, they're not dumb. This isn't their first rodeo. They know what sells and what does not sell. So my question is, who greenlit this? They knew it wasn't profitable. For what purpose?
Yeah.
But this doesn't even seem to be doing well in the Black community. Like, if we look at, say, the first Black Panther movie, Marvel Black Panther movie, that's a movie that the Black community liked. You know, folks were going crazy over it. You saw the numbers. It was the first to hit 1 billion. This doesn't even seem to be something that Black women are going to see outside of the small few that I pointed out. What does that say about the current state of the misandry cinema aesthetic? Like, what does it say when even Black women aren't showing up for this kind of rage porn?
Well, I think it's a certain demographic of Black women that they're trying to sell this to.
Right.
So, like how you said, there were 50-year-old Racines and Inayas in your theater, right?
Right.
In my theater, there was a millennial or zennial group of 4 people. They were all together. It was a white guy and a Black girl, a white girl, and another Black girl who was light skinned.
Okay.
And they were tuned in, like plugged in, right? And before the movie starts, people are talking, but the white girl was loud talking. Like, before the movie starts, like, she's just loud talking. When you're in the theater, you have inside voices. So she's talking loud, and I just say, shh. She kind of looks back, and I'm like, and she goes in, she talks kind of a little bit more loud. Then the light-skinned girl comes in, and they're talking like, hey, and all the hey girl, I said, the millennial and zennials.
Okay.
Here we go. And it automatically hit my head, said, this is the feminist group right here. You have the white couple. You have the mixed couple, the white guy who's the simp, who's following the Black girl who's the feminist. She has the feminist white girl, and she has the feminist light-skinned girl that's possibly mixed or other. And they're all sitting there and they're feeling this, and it's going to this demographic. And when the movie ended, all 4 of them clapped. And I laughed to myself and I said, thank you, BGS. Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you, Angry Man. This was like, when you had that red pill awakening, and it's like the story writes itself. Because now you see everything. And there were 2 elder women, like, on the left of me. And of course, like, we saw the violent scenes and all the other stuff. They're like, go ahead. Yeah, baby, go ahead.
Yeah.
And it was.
Mine sounded. Yep.
But this is programmed and geared to certain demographics. It's
Right.
programmed to this
Yeah.
young millennial zennial demographic that have those, like what Kevin Sams used to say, first world problems.
Mm.
It's programmed to the elder versions of Racine and Anaya, who, you know, like you said, they're together. These two women are together. So it's like, and I've seen brothers were saying this is the modern day Black Thelma and Louise. So the thing is, you're seeing how the way, and we're thinking because this is some form of empowerment. Just like how people believe Thelma and Louise was some form of feminist empowerment. But the crazy part is the reason why they put this out, because it's supposed to display us in a bad light.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just a specific group of men, well, specific group of Black men, but Black men in particular.
Well, that's kind of the crux of the question too, and we're going to get into right now the film itself. But you notice there's really no other demographic of women doing this. You know what I mean?
My theater was the Lane Bryant crowd.
Oh,
You know, it was,
damn.
you know, older Gen X, maybe some boomer. There were no young women in my crowd at all. You know, and it's kind of like similar to when I went to go see the Color Purple musical. I'm still recovering from that. But same thing, a lot of silverbacks, you know, heavy set, older Black women were in there, but not a lot. The theater was mostly empty. But that movie failed too. I think it's with 80 million in the hole for that one.
Wow.
So like you were saying, this stuff, this ship is not working with the younger generation.
Which is interesting because on social media, you would think it would be over the last, 5 to 10 years, all the misandry we've seen online, but it's no longer, or at least it doesn't seem to be, translating into film profits. So,
Well, you got to understand one thing. Young people don't go to the movies on the regular like older millennials and us Gen Xers and boomers. That's a whole different culture that we grew up on. You got to understand, millennials and zennials grew up on streaming. They grew up on millisecond flashes of video on their phones and on their tablets. And for them to sit down for approximately 2 hours or more to see something, it has to be a popcorn film or a blockbuster film, or what Artisan likes to call, what do you call a person? Spectrum theater. A lot of flashing lights, a lot of explosions, a lot of gunplay, a lot of AI, and a lot of green screen, and a lot of special effects. That's what gets them, because that's what they grew up on. That's what they like to see, feed me that and it's okay.
Yeah. Well, let's delve in. And I'll say this, part of the reason I kind of stalled before jumping into the story is that for those of you that want to hear some of the dialogue, but you still want to see the film, you don't want any spoilers. Yeah, I'm just letting you know, we're jumping in now. Spoilers. So if you don't want to see it, you don't want to hear any spoilers, you want to go see it in theaters, this is the time to probably log off, because we're going to kind of go through the story. So, If God Is, and somebody asked if we would explain why it was titled that way, as we go through. Does anyone want to take a stab at that?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I was waiting for like a clear cut, the most we can
It's
say.
said right there. It's right in front of us.
What?
Who was God? Who was God in the movie?
Oh, it was the mother. Yeah.
Okay. Who is God in the Black community?
Yeah, the Black mother.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is one of the biggest things that we say in the Black community, especially in our space, in Black male red pill space?
Oh,
Black woman is God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. AB Media, he always jokes about it. He says, Mama. So it's right there. It's in front of you. It's subliminal message, but it's also just hitting you in the face. Mama is what mama is.
Jesus Christ. All right. That's the only thing I can say clearly is the two girls who are sisters, seen in the picture there, identify as, they identify their mother as God. So, because they said she made us, right? Which is interesting because I never heard of a woman producing without a man, but somehow when women start talking about their supernatural capabilities, men somehow don't make the discussion. I don't know how that happens, but I mean, we can all join in on the narrative, right? So basically, these two young girls, were they were real young. What about 4 or 5 years old? Would you say when everything happens?
Yeah,
real young. The father shows up at the house while the mother's there with her two daughters, and for no clear-cut reason, he breaks in the house, throws her in a bathtub, pours gas all over her, walks his two daughters into the bathroom, lights a match, and sets her on fire.
Right. But
because just so we're talking about quality storytelling, right? Because we've been told why, we've been given context. By the way, later in the film, he just says I was in a bad place.
Right.
That was his answer for it. But anyway.
Well, the opening scene, it starts with an homage to The Color Purple. They reenact that with a little boy who calls Anaya ugly, and and what's the name? Raisa, I think.
Racine.
Yeah, Racine. Yeah, she proceeds to attack him and a group of kids with a wiffle bat.
So Racine is the shorter one who has less. She has fewer burns than her sister.
Yeah.
And she's the fighter. So if anybody, says something offensive or looks too long, she's the one not only to stand up, but also to protect her sister,
And the thing that jumped out to me about that scene, I thought that, that was like a little plastic bat that wouldn't do any damage, like, hitting them with a switch. When she came back, the bat was bloody. If you remember her bloody fingerprints on the bat. So it's like, it almost leads you to believe that she either deleted these kids or severely wounded them. But that was like the first scene where you see like her character, violence up to people that it really just didn't deserve it.
They were kids.
She took up, I mean, the only person in that, you could say the monster, but she took out a lot of people that really weren't evil. In my opinion.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that because we have to.
Yeah.
As we have to, especially anyway. There are a couple characters that it made no sense whatsoever, but so they do have a moment where they flash ahead and the two girls are already burned. They're sitting out at the park. Some kids start kind of making fun of them, and Racine gets up, hits them with a bat. So you get these kind of flashes that this is their relationship. And y'all correct me if I skip over anything, but from there, we see them as adults, and they seem to have jobs cleaning offices. Right. And we get to catch them on one day where they're cleaning an office, and they get fired that day. Right? I mean, one of the I guess it's Anaya. There's a woman who's there, a black woman who's working in the office. She gets up to leave. She drops her scarf. Anaya grabs it for her, picks it up, and holds it to her.
Racine picks it up. Racine.
I thought it was Anaya. My bad.
No, it was Racine.
Racine hands it to her, and the woman looks disgusted when she starts to look at the burns.
Yeah.
Right. You want to break that down? Go through anything else on that?
One little thing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Layman.
No, I was just gonna say, we've all seen burn victims. A kid I went to school with, I was 8 years old. He was in a fire, and him and his mother, they had burns. And I was kind of shocked as to how they made it seem like she was so taken aback with a woman with burns on her face. We see that all the time. I don't understand why they made such an issue at that to make her seem like she was supposed to be a monster or society is cruel towards these people. But it's that kind of threw me off. But go ahead, Malika.
First of all, it's showing Racine's always at the ready.
Yeah.
Like how black women are. It's either I'm always at the ready. It's like, well, what? It reminds me like that old Robin Harris joke. Why do you sleep with your fist balled up? Because a motherfucker might want to start something. That's what it gets me. I'm not trying to be funny, but you guys know what I'm talking about when you have this with a black woman. You could say something and she might give you like a what, and automatically she turns on a dime.
Well, she even she turns on her sister like that from time to time, which
exactly, because her lack of impulse control.
Right.
But then it's blamed on, now I can understand part of it is dealing with how the way you're raised and being in the foster system as they were, and them harboring this ill will because how the way they've been through the system, how the way society sees them, because they are scarred, right?
Well, and by the way, you kind of find this out in the film throughout. They've been through 4 or 5 different foster homes.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess people who've been through that experience can testify to it. I've not heard very many positive stories. They're not always the worst stories in the world, but I haven't heard a lot of positive ones from people who've been through the foster system, but they've apparently been through the worst of the worst, 4 or 5, at least 4 or 5 different foster homes. And they routinely discuss that at random points in the film. So they have not had a good childhood after the event all the way up through adulthood. And, basically they both drive around and they drive around in a hoopty working, cleaning offices, so, which kind of brought in the vibes from, what's that Queen Latifah film?
Set It Off.
Set It Off.
Yeah. It's a little Set It Off vibe to it. You can tell they were pulling from other films, but but go ahead, y'all. We can continue from there. So,
but then what she really shows, and she's embodying the loud, ratchet, abrasive, masculine, strong black female trope. So, and this actress knows how to put that face on.
Yeah.
Just like how the way Taraji P. Henson could put that face on, just like how the way Jada Pinkett Smith can put that face on.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh hell. And she played it to a T.
Yeah, that shit was really believable. That was believable as hell.
And
like you do that in real life. I don't care. You're not that good of an actor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Right. No, so this from that, in movies, when you see, we see the introduction of Racine when she was a kid, when she hits the kid with the bat, but when we see her personality is right then and there when she looks at the woman, and you got to understand, this actress that's playing Racine, she's 5 feet tall. She's a bitty woman.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go with another trope that you got small women that are ready to fight anybody. Mm-hmm. And everybody's bigger than her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know they get fired after that moment. And by the time they get home, that's the scene where there's a letter that's addressed to Racine from their mother, who they thought had passed away. So apparently all this time, they didn't know their mother was still alive.
Yeah.
Right. And so they read through the letter. Anaya's a little hurt that she's not addressed in the letter, but they are invited to go visit.
Right.
And so they jump in their little hoopty. And anybody remember where they were and where they drove to?
They were in Jersey and they drove to Virginia.
Thank you.
Yeah, so and telepathically, they speak to each other throughout the movie.
Yeah, they have a telepathic connection.
Yeah.
And the funny thing with their telepathic connection is, which I thought was very clever and cool, but also it became the inner dialogue and conscience of us, the audience members, but also of Black women.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
There was one other thing we missed a part. The tall one, Anaya, she had a boyfriend. She had a boyfriend. Okay. Yeah. And they made sure to let us know he was a scumbag because he, quote, from the back, never looked at her face. Which, of course, to no surprise, Anaya didn't have a man. But, of course, she was playing that role of the bitter, angry, chronically single girlfriend, where her job is to make sure she criticizes everything the boyfriend does. So immediately, just in one sentence, we knew that he was a villain. And this may be small because we skipped over this again. Let me be small. What was their fascination with urination?
I was about to mention that. All throughout the movie, they
like 4 or 5 scenes.
3 scenes. Yeah.
I mean, what do we need to see that for?
We'll get to the third one, but yeah,
exactly.
2 scenes where the twins are pissing.
Yeah,
sense.
Yeah.
There was one scene where it made sense to show it, but all the rest of them, I was like, why? Why are we watching them sitting on the toilet peeing?
Had a preoccupation about piss.
Yeah,
brushing their teeth and peeing at the same time.
Golly.
But this is the crazy funny thing, and I know women will say, well, sometimes us women bond like that. I understand that, but some stuff we don't need. Like the 4 of us, like we're gonna go in the men's bathroom, and I'm gonna talk to Layman while I'm standing at the urinal.
Nope.
It's like all 4 of us, we're gonna talk about women problems while Dr. T's taking a dump in the stall. And Greg just got his back against the wall, drying his hands and stuff.
Oh man, this
not unless we knew each other since elementary school or something.
But not even that, because but there's a certain dynamic where it's like, because I would be saying to Layman, it's like, nigga, why you talking to me? Why you got your hands on your dick? Come on.
Exactly.
And I'm like, Dr. T, yo, man, talk to me when you get finished, and we can come over. But this is the stuff like the dynamic that we would have, but this is something where somehow I get it, because this is something where women, because somehow this is how the way they bond. Because
I guess they're supposed to, they're sisters. So I guess the subtext is they're closer than friends.
Because they're twins and they share kind of symbiosis.
Yeah.
But can I say something?
I kept thinking it was some type of metaphor or something going on, but I just came to the conclusion it had to be a fetish of some sort.
Exactly.
I couldn't get it.
Oh goodness.
But that symbiosis and that hive mind also lingers on and plays a big part in this movie. With them, not dealing with bodily functions, but with the dysfunction and delusion that Black women have with this hive mind, this Borg hive mind that they have, that you see with the sisters.
Wow.
So they get to Vivica's. Her place.
Well, they get to meet God, right?
Right.
So they make it to the house. Now it was a little jacked up. There was a little sign on the door to welcome them, and I think Anaya's name was misspelled.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a little traumatizing for a kid.
Your mother can't spell your name.
Well, how old are they? They're like 22.
Yeah, they're like 24.
Yeah, but I just meant, that's your kid, and anyway. So they actually get to meet her, and she, of course, recounts her story. And it was a weird little vibe with her little helpers on the side, and they're making.
Yeah, you know what that was? You know what that symbolism was, right?
The veneration of the goddess, or what? What do you mean?
No, that's the sisterhood. That's the hive mind.
Yeah, but
remember when they were talking? Remember when Racine asked, "Well, what happened? What caused this?" And you hear all 4 of the women that are braiding her hair saying, "Child, girl."
But that's what I mean when I say the veneration of the goddess, because they treated her like she was worshipped before the term God was even invoked. Like she had these people in the room that there was damn near a supernatural kind of vibe to it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Nothing overt, but you could tell that was being kind of referenced, right? Like she was some kind of deity of sorts.
They're fanning her.
Yeah. She's pedestalized.
Oftentimes when you hear descriptions of God, he sits on a throne and there's angels facing each other.
Yeah.
And so she had these long braids, like it was like her glory or her power or her aura, and they were tending to it. And so you had like these angels on each side, and she was sitting right there in the middle of the throne.
Yes.
And when the girls had to come to her, they had to kneel and sit down to her.
Thank you.
And they didn't do it. I was waiting for it. If they did the Dutch angle, I said, damn, there you go. You're projecting that. But they didn't. This image that they shown her, like she seemed to be benevolent, vengeful, entitled, and deserving of praise and also retribution. But here's one thing that I realized, and when she asked them to do what she wanted to do, it automatically came to my head, and I might be jumping ahead. She automatically introduces pitbulling. I was like, there you go.
Oh man. First of all, let me just say shout out to MS Delta. Appreciate that generous donation, brother. Thank you. And let me see, there was one a little bit earlier from the person who wanted us to break down the name. Well, shout out to B3Com. Appreciate that support. I think there was one who wanted us to break down the name. I don't think I posted but let me see. Shout out to 30K. Says I'm late, maybe I missed it, but why did they choose that name for the title? So we kind of talked a little bit about that, but just wanted to shout those out real quick. But yeah, it was now, so in that particular scene, the mother basically decides to get in contact with Racine, not necessarily Anaya, because the idea is that Anaya is too emotional. And so she doesn't, that's one of the reasons she doesn't really, reference Anaya too much, not because she doesn't like her or whatever, but because she has a very specific goal in mind by inviting her daughter, and she knew Racine would do it. Right. And that was to kill the father, right? Kill their father for what he did. And of course, she goes through and tells the story of what happened so that, both everybody's on the same page about why this, she deserves to have this happen in her name, to go out and kill the father. Not only kill the father, but anybody that he's been associated with since. Right? Racine has been charged with this mission, and she's 100% into it. 100% into it.
You know what? When she said that, Doc, I say you just contracted your daughters to become serial killers.
Yep.
And in the flashback, they used Vivica, 60-year-old Vivica, which was kind of like, all right, cool. Okay.
You see a young Sterling and a 60-year-old Vivica. It was kind of it was kind of weird.
Okay, all right, fine, all right. You could have used a different actress anyway, because Vivica's all burnt up. Right.
Yeah. By the time he put his hand to her neck, I was like, don't do grandma like that, man. Come on, man. You don't do that to the elders, man. But no, that's an excellent point. They should have used an age-appropriate actress they should have.
Yeah.
But there was
had that problem her whole career, actually. Even in what's it called? She in some movie, what's the movie with Two Can Play at That Game? She was playing a woman that was 10 years younger. The character that she was playing was 10 years.
Was she?
Yeah.
Made no sense.
Yeah, I think they're pushing the black don't crack thing a little too far, but
this black got burnt.
That may work for other communities, but when you all in the same community, we know a 60-year-old black woman when we see one. That's not a diss. That's not an insult. Black women may age better than other groups of women, but that doesn't mean we don't know what the age is when we see her. We from the same place, So that I agree with you. They probably should use someone else. But the other thing that I thought in that scene was a little weird, and maybe it was just me because I asked my son and he didn't see it. But when the mother was trying to get Anaya on board, she said, "Take this blanket off me so you can see what he did." And they didn't show us what her body looked like. We only see her from like the shoulders up pretty much. But when they kind of reveal the blanket, I could swear I saw smoke.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay, so I wasn't imagining that.
They also had it in the beginning when Racine was using ice on Anaya's face.
Mm-hmm.
There was some smoke coming up there as well.
Okay. See, it's real subtle, some of the supernatural hints. So it's like, did I just see that or not? And when I asked my son, he was like, "Nah, I didn't see it." So I was like, okay, I don't know if it was in my head, but that would be also something associated with like a deity. You know, you have some deities that are frozen in a moment, and they just emanate the trauma of whatever.
Exactly.
So she's smoking 20 something years after this happened. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I realize how the way Black female mothers and Black women will do this. What God did, she gaslit her daughters, and by playing on their emotions, to do the bidding.
Yes,
but she also kind of skates over, because remember Racine said, "Why didn't you come after us? You've been dead. We thought you was dead for all these years." She glosses over it. Now and she automatically kind of plays into their emotions, and she has some sort of kind of this wisdom, and she's reading them. And you can see Anaya feels kind of intimidated, but then she points something out to Anaya, and that's when Anaya comes and sits down, and that's when she drives the sale hard.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, wow. And I said, this is how the way Black females play on the emotions of their children, the emotions of their men, and also the emotions of the community, that even though that somebody might have done something to you, somehow you have to perform some form of retribution for me.
Right. Well, let me say this. Shout out real quick to Samuel. He says The Unborn and RZA's One Spoon of Chocolate, both movies about Black men making changes in the community, were only out for 1 week. I didn't see The Unborn. I did see One Spoon of Chocolate. It had problems, but I didn't do a review of it. But I will say this, just real quick, sidebar. One Spoon of Chocolate, made by the RZA, stars a main Black male character that's kind of a reference for the 5%. And y'all are all familiar with the 5%. If you grew up listening to hip hop, you know enough to hear what I'm about to say. It's interesting to see a Black male character who's supposed to represent 5% in a RZA made movie, and the starring love interest is a white girl.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really have a good track record. I mean,
I'm not saying he has a good or a bad one. I'm just saying there's something there to be talked about in terms of the difference between 1992 and 2026, where the love interest for 5% in a rare movie where they're represented is a white girl. But that's beside the point. So we can go back. I'll tell you this. I would have leaned into the supernatural where I'm making this shit. I would have leaned into it more. I would have had the mother's house disappear, to the point where you're not really sure if she was alive or not, because they kind of touched on it. But I'm like, you might as well just lean into it. Just, make it supernatural, make it overtly so, have it disappear, and and all of that. But anyway, so they leave there charged with a mission. Does anybody want to speak to that transition point between meeting their mother and leaving to start this mission?
Well, yeah, they go to visit what is it, Erica Alexander's character?
Right.
Church, I think. So yeah, they go there, and it's pretty much a it's every trope about the Black church that you can imagine. So nothing really interesting there.
Well, I'll say this, just in case you're wondering, every Black male that you run across, and apparently with Anaya's boyfriend, even if you hear about, is a monster and a villain. Every single one.
Right.
So that's just, let's just say that's a given for the entire film. When they go to see her character, she has a small church in her home. I mean, we've seen this in the Black community. She's damn near deified. Like they love her. She has a small little following. They're serving her meals. Everybody's dressed in white. You know what I mean? She's well respected in this very small community she has. And then the two girls go to see her because she's the first woman that their father got with after burning her mother.
Right.
And she apparently has a son from that relationship. So they find out they have a half brother and they meet him there. So they kind of walk in the middle of this service. Now, Layman, do you want to talk at all about this service? Or, because with your experience in the church, I'm real curious to hear your thoughts on that theme.
I mean, it might be the one scene they got right. When you have these small female-dominated churches where the woman is the pastor and they're doing all the hysterical stuff, and she's not just the pastor, she's the prophet, she's the queen, she's the mother, she's the everything, and they're all doing this performative form of Christianity where it's not so much that they act like they're slain in the spirit, but they're really just entertaining each other,
right?
And it's a real silly dynamic in the whole thing where it's just that everybody recites, and again, it's another God complex scene where her orbiters kind of, her amen crowd kind of repeat what she says as if it's gospel.
Yeah.
And act it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
They act it out.
Yeah. But even still, I thought it was kind of weird. And it kind of weird to me when she mentioned breast milk. And her son was breast milk. I'm like, okay, is she still feeding him? Is the notion that I got. But that whole scene, it's a lot
that
of
was that. You know what that was a little bit of, though, brother? A little bit of son husbanding.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was
definitely. He was definitely a son husband. Yeah. Which speaks to an inappropriate relationship between between a mother and a son that usually breaches almost every line except sexual, and there are cases where it has breached that.
Well, you know who she's replacing him with? She's replacing him with Monster.
Yeah,
because as we go along further in the scene, now everybody in her congregation is revering her as the prototypical God. But she reveres him as a prototypical God because when she opens up the closet, she still has his pants, still has his belt.
Oh, let's be clear. She has an altar.
Yes, that's what it is.
She has an altar of all the basic items he left: deodorant, socks, shirts, like anything. I think there was some breath mints, and everything was placed and laid out. Now I want to point this out. Shout out to Gorilla Grip. I just put up the image earlier, the donation he sent, but he was talking about the "Is God Is" being ISIS. And I can tell you, I wondered if that was the case, but the reason I didn't think it was is because when you really look at the story of Isis and Horus or Heru and Aset and Asar, there's a love that Isis has for her husband and her son. There's no love in these. Well, there's no love with the mother Vivica's playing. This character, Erica Alexander is playing, has a toxic kind of love obsession. Thank you for Monster, and she is waiting for him to come back.
Yeah,
she said, "I'm keeping my word. I'm waiting for him to come back so he can come back at any time." And I think she even intimates that the church is his, or like she would give it to him, or something along those lines. Like everything she has. Go ahead.
It's a play on Christianity. No one knows the time or the hour when Christ shall return. So we in the church are going to be ready when he comes back for all of us. So she kind of makes him a Christ-like figure or a Messiah.
But then also that's the writer and director making fun of Christianity.
Yep.
Because we see Christ as our Heavenly Father. So you can see the feminist view of, we're even dealing with patriarchal views within religion. So she's poking fun at that. So we could see that little metaphor in that with that too.
So the contrast to having this patriarchal religion where there's, there's waiting for this man that will never come back is the matriarchal religion of the mother who birthed you, right? The contrast would be that. But the interesting thing is Vivica as the mother does not express love for her children in any kind of meaningful way. She charges them to commit an act of revenge and murder. But I mean, usually the stereotype about the goddesses is that they embody all things feminine, right? You don't get that from Vivica's depiction of this goddess figure. There's no love. That's what I was saying about Isis. There was no love in any of that. But all right, so the other thing, aside from the fact that their mother said that they can kill whoever their father was associated with, they're also trying to get clues to figure out where he is now. Right. So in this conversation with Erica Alexander's character, I keep forgetting her name, but Racine gets into an argument with her. Right. Does anyone want to touch on that? Racine's argument with the mother, with the church leader here?
Well,
Racine, I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say she pretty much mocks, her performativity and that she does with her congregation. And it's I don't know if there's much more to it than
Yeah, she does the same thing she does with Anaya. You doing all this for a man,
right?
You still in love with him,
mm-hmm.
And again, she's in that role, like we talk about how the sisterhood wants to keep the women around them single, but in the movie they kind of justify that. So with Anaya, she's with the guy that only wants to be with her in one type of way, intimately. And then you have this situation where you have a woman who, I think she was the side piece. I think there was some overlap, or maybe she was right after that.
They said she was in court with him when all of this went down.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
right. And so so you see how it's like they're saying, see, ladies, anytime your single girlfriend tells you to get up, leave this no good man alone, you should listen to her.
They see Racine as the truth teller, and this is what I think they're hoping for women to celebrate, right? Like Racine is the truth teller, and she kind of she's the one that says the emperor is naked, right? So she's sitting in this woman's house, and she basically tears her down from this, prophetess. Now she doesn't call herself a prophetess, but I'm using that term because I think many of you are familiar with the kind of women that do. She tears her down from being this prophetess figure to, you just a bitter woman waiting on a man that's violated you and left you. You know what I mean? Right. She tears the emperor's clothes off, which of course frustrates not only her but her son. But go ahead.
You know what? Really, what Racine says to Divine, that's Erica Alexander's character's name.
Thank you.
In the movie. She basically hits to the crux. She says, "He ain't no great man. You just dick whipped."
Yep.
And you just waiting for him to come back so he can fuck you good again. And basically, how many women might say, you just getting back with him because you know that nigga fuck you good. Stuff like that. So in actuality, Racine was right.
Yeah,
Divine was just pissed off because how dare you talk to me because I'm the prophetess Divine.
Yeah.
And it's like, this man burnt me and my sister up.
Right.
You staying with him, but this shows also the weakness of women, how the way they just, I remember I had a girlfriend. She said something very pivotal to me. She said, sometimes a woman, if she can't get a man, they'll deal with a piece of a man. So this is where you see Divine, okay, I can't have a man, but even though this man is the embodiment of evil, I still deal with him because he makes me feel good.
Right.
So it's all about her feeling good, and even though that she know, like if you know that, she went to court with this dude, and you know that he tried to kill his wife and his kids. Yeah,
it's a testament to the kind of women that will get with a man who has a horrible track. Can anybody say the T app?
Yes.
Yeah.
A whole track record written out testified to by groups of other women, and yet how many women will still get with that man? Matter of fact, how many women will go behind another woman's back to get with that man? Will go behind a best friend's back to get with that man? This is, I think, a little jab at women like that too.
And a little bit of hyperstophilia in there to set it off right too.
There you go. So they end up obviously having to run out of there, and their I guess he's their half brother is already at the point where he's yelling and screaming in defense of both his mother and his father. So he's offended that Racine has, talked about both of them the way she has. And so they run out, get in their car, and drive away. And from there, Racine has stolen the address book of Divine, right? So that they can look up where their father is, right?
Yeah, they get his lawyer's contact.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's right.
Now this shit, one of y'all, I'm gonna let one of y'all touch on this, man. Let me find it because I think I passed it up. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Bro, let me tell you something. You want to talk about just the most emasculating scene?
Come on, man. Come on.
Just terrible, because when you see him, and like how you said, when I look at this brother, right, of the body of work that he's played in, now, even though that he played Bubba Gump, which was, people always considered it was a great role, but they also said it was a deplorable role. This is 10 times more deplorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Because you see him paying a prostitute to beat him up, but what he's doing is he's trying to build up enough tough because he's waiting for Monster to come back and kill him. But the deplorableness about him is just that somehow we black men have to be the sin eaters of everything.
Right.
Well, let me pause just to shout out Artisan. Artisan is in the room. What's good, man? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing, Dr. T? Sorry about that. I had to finish the after job first.
Understood, man. You good?
Peace,
Yeah,
homie.
Peace.
Now, Artisan MC, y'all make sure you support his channel. He did a review of the film on his channel, so you might want to check it out and support that. We're just we've kind of looked at the IMDb, the actors, the producers, kind of all of that, and now we're just going through the narrative of the story. So we just got to the point where they found the lawyer, who apparently had his tongue ripped out by Monster previously. So he's an attorney, but he can't speak and has to write on a little chalkboard. So is there anything you want to jump in with here, or do you want to just kind of, wait and go with the flow later?
Oh, you know me, I'll go with the flow like a bonus first.
All right.
Right.
So anyone want to continue on this part?
Well, yeah, before that, we see him doing a little commercial for his law firm.
Right.
Which is, it's probably the only time that I kind of smirked throughout the whole movie. I didn't even laugh throughout it, but yeah. And and it, as Malika said, he pays a dominatrix to whoop his ass, and yeah. I mean,
the only scene on par with that jumped into my head was that Quentin Tarantino movie with Ving Rhames is being violated by white men. This it wasn't that far, but
Pulp Fiction.
What'd you say?
I said Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
No, Pulp Fiction. Yeah, thank you.
He gets paid, by the cop.
The scene wasn't that far in this movie, but it reminded me of that. That was the first thing that popped in my head. But yeah, he's paid a dominatrix to beat him up and hit him and whatnot. And it was. So,
and then from there, one of the twins, the short one, she puts a big rock inside of a sock. They walk into the law firm, and someone else can cover that, but
yeah. Anybody else want to take a stab at this?
Well, they're asking questions. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I thought he paid the ultimate price as an attorney as to lose his tongue. you know, and the inability to argue, because he's seen the reason why he's sitting there taking that beating is because he thinks he deserves it. You know, he knew that the man or the monster was a bad guy, and he let him go. So as his penance, he thought, you know, well, I'm just going to sit here and take this beating. I'm just going to take this death. I have to, you know, make penance for what I've done. You know, so you have a man, because you see him in the commercials. He's very confident as an attorney. You know, even initially in the car with the father character. But now you see him as a broken, defeated man waiting every day for, you know, his world to end.
Well, it's weird. Yeah. He's waiting, but he says he's also preparing. So see, if you look at closely in the picture on the screen, you notice he has these weight gloves on. So he's lifting weights. You know, he's hiring somebody to beat up on him, and apparently they didn't show him having sex with her. It looked like he just paid her to beat him up. Yeah, so he's kind of has this sense where he's preparing for the end, and he wants to make sure that when it's his time to go, he's going to do some damage. That's, you know, it seems to be his mentality. And from there,
but here's the funny thing, though, brother. He's not preparing to do any damage. He's preparing to take damage. You know what I mean? He's not showing any offensive ability. Well, he's showing that he's showing that he's taking all the damage. That's what we black men are supposed to do. He's supposed to take that. He's embodying, you're supposed to take all this pain, all this retribution. This is what you have to. And that's why
he damn sure doesn't do any with Racine.
Exactly.
So you're right about that. Racine, you know, comes in with the side. And I thought it was a little strange that was the first reaction, was for her to jump in and beat him up, but
well, she does. You gotta understand, she's the aggressive one. And he's not trying to give anything. He's like, look, you're going to bring all this tension back to me. And so she's going to be aggressive, and he's ready for it. So she's like, oh, you know how the way in the black community, we're ready to square up. And then she hits him, and she's like, oh, you like this, you ready for this. And then she hits him again, and then Anaya stops it. And then he sits down and he realizes, now here's the thing about him though. He has the sensibility that he really doesn't want this to happen, but he gives them an olive branch by giving them information. But he's in this whole movie, he says one thing in this scene in the movie, and this whole thing that he says is the price for admission alone. He writes on that dry erase board, go home, go to a trade school, apply to a community college, get a job, meet and marry a young man. That will be the best alternative for young women with your fate. I said, that is the best fucking advice he gave and anybody else gave.
Was he the one? Let me ask you this. Was he the one that also warned them about the cost of vengeance?
Yes. Yeah. He said the cost of vengeance doesn't end.
Yeah.
Somebody's eventually going to die. But that scene was enough to let you know that black women, get your shit together, get back with your men so you can have a legacy.
Right.
Did anybody want to touch on anything else in this scene before we move on from here? I mean, I will say, with an actor of this caliber, I felt like he was greatly underused, not only in terms of, you know, the acting, but the story. I mean, this brother is powerful. You know, I enjoy his work. And he's got a lot of range. I mean, from Forrest Gump to, you know, a number of other things. I thought they would use him better, but go ahead.
Heat, you know, he goes from Heat.
Yeah.
To this.
To Forrest Gump to this. Yeah. You know, but
was hilarious in Waiting to Exhale. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that was another deplorable role.
It was. But I think Greg is just speaking to range, you know, his acting range. I think okay, Artisan is coming in there. All right. So So they get information from him as far as what do they get? Did they get the address from him?
They get the address from him where his
current
where
family,
his second wife is at. Yeah, where he's at.
Mm-hmm. So as they begin to drive out now, and they're still, the sisters are constantly arguing about, killing the father, right? Racine is down with it 100%. Anaya is more concerned about Racine's attitude, her perspective, her willingness to kill. They keep going back and forth, and you already know. I mean, you can feel it just watching the scenes. They're kind of setting up for it's almost like a statement to Black women who still have compassion for Black men. It's like it's as if to say it's not worth it. You're going to regret it. Having compassion for them. This is the kind of tone you get. It seemed like a statement to women that still have some love for Black men. You need to be like Racine, because if you're like Anaya, you're just going to get hurt. Right. So Racine and Anaya keep going back and forth about this tension. And as they're driving out to find their father, they're finding that they're followed on the road out.
Well, yeah.
Talk on that?
Before that, though, we get to the second urination scene, which is a motif that happens throughout the movie.
Yeah.
They're telepathically communicating and verbally communicating.
Yeah. Brushing their teeth on the road too, and pissing. Yes.
And rubbing ice on each other.
Yeah.
Not in a sexual way, but in a healing way.
Yeah. And then I guess, they see someone come up in a motorcycle, and I think, what does he pull out, a hammer?
Yeah.
Well, remember here's how dumb they are, right? They go off and they piss. Anaya has her back towards the car. Racine walks off somewhere to go. But when the guy on the motorcycle comes up, Anaya notices something. But then Racine's telepathic spider sense goes over because she knows Anaya sees it. And they see each other and she tells her run, and they start running, and the guy starts running after them.
Now he has a helmet on. So we don't know who this is yet. He's a lone guy on a motorcycle, black leathers, black helmet. And when he pulls a hammer out, he destroys the engine, everything under the hood, he destroys. So they're out in the middle of nowhere on the road, and he destroys their only transportation.
Right.
So, and then he proceeds to try and run each one down individually and kill them, basically.
Yeah,
right?
Well, he chases them on foot. It's a foot chase.
Right, he chases them on foot. I guess they're near like a farm or something like that. So they're able,
a foundry or something.
Yeah, they're able to get away, and they end up locking him in a room. But then that's where we get a chance to find out who this is. Right?
Ezekiel.
This is Ezekiel. This is a divine son. Their half brother.
And to add, he for some reason is banging his head on some cement little wall that he's encased in, right? As they trap him. And one thing I wanted to say, nobody's really too bright in this movie. This is probably the first time.
Thank you, brother.
I've seen a movie where I don't see anybody that's really strikes me as super bright, maybe except some that comes up later. But right, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I didn't think that was the point, that the men in the movie were not supposed to be too bright, because
I'm saying
him trying to break himself through the brick was just him trying to get himself out. There's a hole in the brick. He's using his helmet to break through the old brick. I didn't think it was anything really stupid outside of chasing two women down with a hammer. You can't catch any of them, which makes no sense to me.
I'm saying even the women too, though. I just didn't think anybody was super bright, or
Oh no, they were.
In general.
This was not a genius. This was not the genius.
You heard that scene when they were running through? It reminded me of a scene of Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
No, for real, because I was like, this is like an episode of Scooby Doo. Like,
yes,
hiding into the tires, hiding behind something, and you're hiding behind the guy that's dressed up as the ghost. And, at the end, he's going to say, "I would have gotten away with too if it wasn't for you crazy kids." So
well, my thinking on it, like, it was a ridiculous saying to follow the scene after they just did all that with the attorney. It was all big and bad with the attorney, and then you get outside the car to take a piss, and now you running from one guy. It's two of you. You're supposed to be bad chicks, right? What you running for?
Right.
Well, she didn't have her magical rock in the sock of power. That's what.
Well, and her sister
sister
actually asked her, and she's like, "I left the sock in the car."
But it's two of y'all.
They on a building site with a bunch of other rocks and shit. What do you need?
Exactly.
Come on, man.
And for clarity, somebody in the chat asked if we meant gun or we meant actual hammer. We mean actual hammer. He pulls out an actual hammer and chases them around with it. So yeah.
Just for the carpenter in the group, it was a small ripclaw hammer with 16 ounce. So he couldn't have did too much.
Yeah, and the whole situation again speaks to the sloppiness of the writing. I mean, so your goal is to go off and kill a man, but then when a man shows up with a hammer, you don't know what to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're supposed to have this ability. Yeah, and like you were saying, the only intelligent character in the movie was the villain.
Right.
Everybody else was a dummy.
Right. So I think it's from here where they're obviously on foot because they no longer have their car. And I believe there's a dream sequence that takes place before they wake up on a bus. Does anybody want to speak to the dream sequence?
Yeah, they were, I think they were walking through a field. They were tired, they were thirsty, and then they come across this water pump. And the whole time they're arguing, but you can fill in the gaps. But as they're drinking this water, of course they say, "Oh, is this too good to be true?" Now I don't know what the symbolism is between walking through the desert and finding this majestic water, but it was kind of weird to me. But they wake up on a bus.
I think maybe the symbolism is that they even identified that their lives were such that was too good to be true, that they would find such ample pure water in the midst of all of this long walking. Because that's what one of the sisters says. She says, "Isn't this too good to be true?" And then they wake up on a bus. So I think maybe that was a subtle notion that they can't expect much from life. Life has never given them much, and life has been pretty bad with them. So things are like that are too good to be true. Maybe.
It's the Malcolm X quote that he delivered at a black man's funeral, by the way. He said, where he says, which I disagree with, but he says the black woman is the most disrespected person in America. So I think that's kind of the line of thinking. And that's the only quote black women from him.
Yeah, I find that interesting because I'm like, y'all don't want to quote nothing else from Malcolm, do you?
Even from that same, even from that same eulogy that he gave.
Yeah, no, they don't. So they take a bus from there, and I can't remember if there's anything else between the bus and them getting to the house. Y'all let me know if we're skipping anything. But I think it's not long after that they actually find the house, which is this kind of beautiful little estate in the middle of nowhere that seems to be disconnected from everything. And that's one of the weird things I noticed. Aside from Divine, everybody lives in some real obscure place. Let me see. Okay. So anyway, they're kind of in this beautiful place with a pool, nice house, but it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it that I could see.
It's like in the desert.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because it's like they're like in this barren area, then all of a sudden it's like this place with palm trees, and like they just stumble upon this oasis of something.
Exactly, that's the word I was thinking too.
Yeah,
oasis.
Yeah,
and it's like they're looking at a big life-size screen television of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they're seeing a life that they could have had, because this is the scene where it's the present wife and their brothers. Because remember, the lawyer said, hey, he has 2 other twins.
Yep.
But they're boys. So they're like, oh crap. So you see from their perspective, they're spying on the boys. But the one thing that they had was kind of interesting was that every time you saw some of the characters, you hear them do voiceover. The actors do the voiceovers of who the characters are when you have the introduction. So these sets of twins are kind of like Racine and Anaya, but the more aggressive masculine one is bigger, and the more laid back emotional one is smaller. So you see them that, you know, they have all the fruits and everything, but they can tell it's hollow. It's all about aesthetics, and it looks cool.
Well, go ahead.
But then we get to Janelle Monáe, and I'll let you go for that, bro.
Well, I was going to say that the smaller brother is he's more vulnerable, but he's more cerebral, and the larger one is muscular in shape. He's more outgoing, but he's not quite as he doesn't think things through necessarily. But he's more assertive. He's more unapologetically masculine, and so you get this kind of so these two, you know, these girls are finding they have, you know, 2 more half brothers that are twins. And one of the things, before I ask one of you to jump into the mother character, one of the things I remembered wondering was whether or not they had an inner monologue with each other. Did they have telepathy with each other? Did anybody notice if they did? The 2 brothers?
No, I don't think so.
Yes. Yes. After the 2 female twins showed up to the house, when they went back inside and they were trying to figure out where they came from, they had a little side conversation about the strippers and dad sent them there. They had a little bit of it going on, a little bit.
Okay.
But they didn't do the same thing they did with the girls when they did. They popped it up on the screen so you could see it.
They spoke telepathically?
No, it's not even speaking telepathically. It's just understanding what the other one was going to say. Like, no, this is not it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
They can finish each other's sentences and thoughts.
Yeah.
Right, because that's supposed to be something that's just endemic in twins, period. Right. Most twins usually have some kind of bond like that. So.
But it seemed to me like the subtle suggestion is whatever they had going on wasn't as adept as what the 2 girls could do with each other, as far as the telepathy was concerned. They had something, because I agree with you. That's a twins, you know, concept, right?
Trait.
Yeah, trait. Yeah. You know, it just seemed to me that between the 2, the girls had a far stronger one. But does somebody want to speak on the Janelle Monáe character? So she's the mother of the house. And these 2 sons.
Then we get to the 3rd pissing scene.
Exactly.
This was the only one that at least had something to do with what takes place afterwards. The rest, I don't know why we keep seeing them pissing. I'm sure there's
that 3rd pissing scene was another nod to the 1985 Color Purple. Next time I put some of Sugar Avery P and Mr. Father's.
Right. That's something you see in Toni Morrison's work as well. But go ahead.
Janelle Monáe.
Oh, damn.
Janelle,
well, that's what she did. She pissed in the spray bottle and then sprayed that stuff on his glasses and cleaned his glasses with it. I'm like, damn, she gonna get that boy peacock.
Because she was supposed to be like the perfect.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She was supposed to be like the perfect Stepford wife. So you see her
the
cleaning the house while repeating the orders and instructions that he gives her. You know, iron the shirt, keep the pants like this, clean it like this, make sure everything is perfect. That she's dusting and cleaning and everything like that. And she's an attractive woman, and she's kind of like, you know, kind of well dressed while cleaning up. You know, so on one hand, you're supposed to, I guess, hate her because she's that perfect wife. But as the story goes on and you get to the like you said, the 3rd urination scene, you kind of come to the conclusion, because I think they had some flashbacks or something where you kind of led to believe that he also, puts hands on her as well.
Right.
Yeah. Because
he is precise in what he wants done. And if she doesn't do it that way, he gets to acting like Mr. Which, to me, they only took the scene and made it that any man who has actual standards and is organized, there got to be something wrong.
Right.
So they're going to
not only something wrong, but to the point where she has to escape to be free of him, right?
Exactly.
That's the whole Mr. component, and that seems to be a running thread in these movies, that the only way Black women can truly be happy is, one, they have to be free of men, and two, they can only find happiness with each other in connection. Now, the end of this film gives a slight twist to that, and we'll get there. But, Janelle Monáe's character's whole push at this point is the freedom aspect of it. But please, somebody continue.
But also, this is kind of like the Black version of Sleeping with the Enemy, a little bit of that. But then we're also painting Monster as this raging narcissist, anal retentive, controlling and domineering. But why? He just is.
It just is. Yeah.
He just is for his sake, So I was like, okay. But then, like you said, today of all days, she's leaving.
Right.
Today is the day.
Yeah.
And here's another thing what we're seeing: the abandonment of children.
Yeah.
She's abandoning her sons.
But, they also give us a glimpse into the son's character, because the whole scene confused me, because at first I thought they were supposed to be sympathetic characters, especially the smaller one.
Yeah.
Because I think as the narrator is talking about, he says, he's the smaller one. He kind of keeps to himself. He doesn't really get in the way of his brother. And so you kind of think that they're good people. But as the mother is walking out, she's telling him she's going to go away. The big one only worried about, well, who's going to make dinner?
Right.
You already paint him as the chauvinistic, alpha male that only sees his mother as a maid or a cook.
Yeah.
But it's the little one that comes up. He's concerned about his mother and says, "I love you." And you can tell she kind of meant when she says, "I love you" back. And so that's where, so at that moment, you think that the film wants you to believe that those two are good people.
Or at very, you talking about the when you say the two, you talking about both brothers, or you talking about the mother and the
mother and the small son?
Yeah, exactly.
And I still contend that the mother is a good person. She was just a woman trying to get away.
Yeah, but she says she saved $11,000, and she's going to get in her Mercedes SUV or whatever, and her goal. And she has the sons load her suitcases. And there's even a little moment where she's about to load her suitcases and decides that she shouldn't have to. So she calls her sons, and it's I believe it was the smaller one that actually ends up doing it. Loads her suitcases. She gets in the car. They don't really know she's leaving permanently, but that's why she extends her love to the youngest son and drives off. Right.
I would say this, Dr. T. It's just a correction. She said she saved $311,000.
Right.
Or was it 311? Okay.
$311,000. Like, where the hell she get all that damn money?
Yeah.
They were pretty well off for some reason.
Truthfully, I didn't even know how the two girls had enough money to drive as far as they were with
Thank you. How they get enough money to have a bus ticket?
Money ain't an option. They out there twerking on the side of the road every state, so they probably gained some money.
Yeah,
they were twerking on
the magic cities.
This twerking shit has gotten ridiculous. But anyway, all right. So she takes off. Does anyone want to handle, or at least start the conversation on her driving off? This is significant.
It's the funny thing where she's playing a Prince song, Thunder, which kind of ironically is about God having retribution on the earth, but somehow she's free. And she feels that she's free and she's almost home. And then we see Racine and Naya sitting in the road. And she's being very prim and proper, beeping, could you please move out the road, ladies? And trying to get them. And Racine in true ratchet hyena fashion, no, I want her to come to us. She's expecting us to come to her. And of course, she comes there, and that's when the conflict starts between, I guess, Layman and the other brothers can go on with that.
Yeah, and so this is where I was talking about earlier, where the film really suffers from bad screenwriting and pacing and poor character development, because up into that point, the mother is a sympathetic figure. She's a mistreated woman who's been skimping and saving this money for years, and she's gonna get away forever. But then all of a sudden they decide, oh crap, we got to make her a villain. So her and Racine get to talking, and then this is where the trauma dump comes in. You know, you with this man who burned our mother, and we've been struggling, and you sitting here taking care of him. Like, how was that any of her fault? Right. She didn't know about you. Exactly. She didn't know about what he did, his passing. She's the villain because she's simply enjoying the life that her husband gave her.
But the irony was she wasn't enjoying it. That was the significance of the moment. She's trying to leave it at all and abandon everything to get away.
Right.
And she's punished by these two girls that have their own perception of her enjoying her plush life. Right. So they actually do more damage to her than he did.
Well, exactly. And I could sense that the writers knew that didn't make any sense. So they had to throw in, the spit scene.
Right. No, not even that.
We got to make it feeling somehow.
No, hold on, Layman. That's not the scene that was showed that was insulting. The bougie scene when she takes the pearls off her neck and throws them to Racine. That was, you know what that was? That was the classism. That's the bougie black woman turning her nose down to the ratchet ghetto black girl. So she's like, we don't want your pearls. And, it's the funny thing of how the way, and then like how you said, we see the conflict where you hear her and they're arguing, you see black women, they're arguing, you can hear the engine rev up. And when she says, yeah, your mother was a no good, blah, 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 ghetto this, and she's like, what? And that's what ticked it off. And that's when she didn't hit her with the rock. I think she hit her with her hand. And then she spits. That's when she spits in Racine's face.
Right.
And then we see the pomp and circus saying, it's like, oh, no, you didn't. You spit in her face. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Well, she spit first. Yeah.
She spit first, but Racine was already giving her a lot of bullshit that she wasn't listening to. And I would say that the pearl situation was symbolic of giving pearls before swine. She tried to offer them something. She didn't throw it at him. She offered it in her hand. They didn't want it. But they wanted to keep riding on her about the life that she has, like she's supposed to be ashamed of the life that she has for some reason, because they didn't have a good life. And she was telling them, they got nothing to do with me.
Right.
They got a damn thing to do with me. And it didn't. So when they kept, pushing buttons and going a little bit too far, she spit in her face. That's when the rock came out. And it got funny because ratchet girls get to have a little, go in on the pretty girl. That's when that shit happened.
Exactly.
And then it just, what she do? She beat her to death. For what?
And that was the part that made the least sense. They beat her, or Racine especially, beat her to death. Like, I saw one hit and I was like, with a woman like that, you hit her with a rock once, that's about it. She's out. She kept going and kept hitting her and kept hitting her and kept hitting her. And I was like, oh yeah, she's dead.
Well, yeah, Anaya was. Yeah, Anaya, she was pretty petrified actually. She didn't hit her at all.
Well, and for a penny, and for a pound. Sorry.
Hey. Yeah. And that made the least amount of sense. But I remember thinking, now mind you, just to further set up the scene, these two girls are sitting in the middle of the dirt road in front of her car, which is why the character stops the car, because they're sitting in the road blocking her way. But on each side of the dirt road, there's grass. And me, I would have just driven around both of them without slowing down and kept going.
Yeah, you gotta.
But you gotta remember, they're sitting on the road to her house.
Mhm.
That was the road to their house.
Yeah.
So yeah, she probably felt a little entitled, like, "Okay, you move." And she asked him. She wasn't being a bitch about it. She asked him. They was the one out there acting, ratchet.
Now, see, any other day I would have been with that, but the day I'm leaving from an oppressive context, I'm gone. I'm not stopping for shit. But they do, and the scene ends with her dead, and I think that was the most, to me, the most senseless death. In the film.
Why'd they even stop her anyway?
It made no sense. So from there they go back to the house, right? They've been to the house to spy on the brothers, to get a sense of what's going on. They confront the mother, and then they go back to the house after they've killed her. And interestingly enough, nobody mentions the fact that that they've killed her. I mean, these two boys do not know their mother's dead. These idiots think that these two girls are strippers sent by their father.
Well, yeah, one thinks they're strippers.
Yeah, the tall
one of them. The other one went along with it. So but the disgusting subtext is they invite these two women in to dance for them, and in the audience that these are their sisters.
Which is another thing where we're pulling on the stereotypical trope that we black men are so objectifying and so sex crazed. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, we doing this. But then Racine says, all right, let's give them what they want.
Made no sense to me.
And I'm like, hold it. But then what gets me is like, see, they know, like, what gets me in their mind is like, okay, these guys are your brothers.
That's
so
disgusting.
I don't care if you feel some kind of way, but I'm like, you're willing to be so duplicitous and do something sick and immoral in front of guys that I don't care if you don't like them or even if you're intent. I'm like, what, really?
Yeah.
And
here's the thing, Malika. They were low-key attracted to their brothers. That's what it was.
God.
They was low-key attracted to them because the brothers looked like the men that they would want. That's why they did it. Because you got to remember, they must have been at that house for a while. Because when they showed up, it was just the two brothers. By the time they got out there and started working and shit, the brothers they called their friends.
Yeah.
So they was there for a minute.
You see Anaya say, well, they are brothers. And Racine says, half brothers.
That
makes it okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They're from the south.
The good half or the bad half. So,
that's disgusting.
But then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was actually going to say that in plain, it's because they could have just said, we're lost. We have a drink of water. Can you help us with directions? They go in to not only strip, they go get dressed in the mother's clothes to strip for their brothers. That shit
and friends.
Sicking me. I'm like, y'all done dressed up in these boys' mother's clothes to strip for them and dance. I'm like, I don't even understand why this is being written this way. And
well, it's like Layton was saying. It's just bad writing because you have to have a reason after they've left their car. They don't have a lot of clothes and stuff like that on them. You have to have a reason for these women to have these revealing clothes to wear. So apparently, the mother just so happened to have clothes in Racine size in her little.
You picked that out too. You picked that out too.
Yeah,
brother.
No, it's just bullshit writing. It's like you just have to have a tried way for them to have some of this stripper clothes on hand, since they wouldn't have had it because they already left their car with all this shit in.
And I'm glad you said it that.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm glad she said it. A good thing her mother coordinated for two women.
Exactly.
So they get out and they start dancing for their brothers and their brothers' friends, except the smaller brother decides to hang out in the kitchen. He doesn't want to have any part of it. So the two girls start dancing. Now, mind you, I didn't even understand why they would think that these were two strippers in the first place, because one of them is covered in burns, the other one's half covered in burns. I'm like, if anybody sends strippers, who sends strippers with anyway? So
Well,
they start.
this is where
it points to black men not being discerning, like Malika was saying earlier. That you're not discerning. You just take anything.
You
it don't matter.
Anything. Yeah.
And we're giving into that trope that garbage men of the dating pool.
Well, but here's the contradiction though. They do tell Anaya that she needs to leave. Because
they told her, they said, hey, you turn around and shake your ass while pretty girl, you come up here close and you show me what you got.
They told her
back.
They told her to turn around like her boyfriend did.
Yes.
Like her boyfriend tells her.
Exactly. And she got hurt by that for some reason.
And mind you, we didn't actually say that she's pregnant. The whole movie, she's been pregnant from the boyfriend she's having sex with, who will not look her in the face while they have sex.
Because it was a particular point when they were dressing in the mom's room, putting on the sexy clothes. And Racine says, bitch, why your titty so big?
Yeah. Yep.
And Anaya has that look on her face, and then they have this kind of telepathical thing. And then Racine says, damn, bitch. But then all of a sudden, here we go. They turn around and they're laughing and they're being very giddy and joyous and they're happy. Here we go again. The delusion of black women being happy because she's pregnant, but you're about to go kill somebody and you're on a killing spree. So here's what we're going. You're happy that your sister is pregnant and you're talking about how the way you want to bring this child into this world. Both of you are unemployed. Both of you are complicit in a murder. You're also having desire to want to kill two boys and their father. But in this moment, this little gleeful moment, you're thinking about bringing a child into this world.
Well, let's get to the murder of the boys. So Anaya walks away, and we find that she actually goes and changes her clothes, and she goes into the kitchen to talk to the other brother.
Right.
Racine decides to keep dancing. Does anybody want to tackle that?
Yeah, and then Racine takes the older brother, or the taller twin, up to the room for a private dance, I guess.
That's disgusting, but I'm sorry.
Exactly. Disgusting. And and then I'm kind of fuzzy on what the brother and sister Anaya were talking about in the kitchen. As far as I just remember, they had kind of heart to heart.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I got the impression. Go ahead.
I was going to say that Anaya and the younger brother, I think his name was Rodney or something like that. They actually end up finding out that they're more similar than they are different. That he is more like her, Anaya, and Anaya's a lot like him. That neither one of them really wanted to be involved in that scene. And what they describe is their difficulty with dealing with their other twin. That the other twin actually does stuff that they don't approve of. But it's kind of like the other twin is just doing it because they don't say it. So it's setting up, very smallly the difference between the two twins, that they're going to have a split at some point because they don't agree on all the moves that are being made.
Yeah, it's one of the scenes in the movie where, again, they kind of lead you to believe that the smaller twin was supposed to be a good guy because she can kind of see herself in him and the way that he kind of submits to the other twin. That's what they have,
like a kindred spirit.
Right.
Yeah. And if anything, if I remember correctly, Racine was a little offended that at a certain point, Anaya seemed to side with the other twin more than her. I mean, Racine, I think she hit the taller brother in the throat with the rock. Is that what she did?
Yep.
Can I talk about that for 1 second, gentlemen?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just so fucking pissed with that scene. This dude is 6 feet tall, possibly 190, maybe 200 pounds, right?
Muscle.
Now, I can understand these are big river pebbles. And them socks, they must have been made out of vibranium and titanium, man. The way these socks they were having. So she takes him up and she's trying to give him a lap dance. But at the preview they're looking, it looked like it seemed like she was possibly about to give him you know what.
Yeah.
So she hits him in the throat, but then he's walking out to the rest of the floor, and the friends are like, what's wrong? He spits blood on his friends and he falls on the floor dead. Now, she just hits him once. She doesn't bang him in the throat. She just hits him once. So he has enough energy to walk up, go out into the floor, spit blood, and fall out dead. And I'm like, what type of corny 1980s, 70s death scene shit is this from a bad movie? So that pissed me off. And then what also pissed me off, the friends see the blood. They're like, oh shit, and they run. Mind you, these are 4 other men. They don't go around and see what's going on. They don't go up there and see what's up with the female. What did she do to him? Nobody calls the police. They all run out.
Yeah, they all cower.
Yep.
So this also gives another trope that black men are cowardice.
Right.
We run at the face of danger.
Yeah.
We don't care about each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So he dies right there on the living room floor. And you see Anaya and the smaller brother, what I believe that's the point where they run outside, right?
No. Remember, the brother is crying over his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Naya is saying to Racine, what did you do that for?
Right.
And she's arguing back. And this is where you see the arguing, and you see Anaya standing up to her saying, okay, now you're pushing it too far.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you see Racine, she gets more psychotic and psychopathic. And then this is where you see how. Exactly.
Right, but she killed him over something pretty trivial. She just because it relates back to the first scene in the movie, right? The opening scene. She said she wasn't going to kill him, but he called her ugly.
Exactly.
Right.
He called her
sister.
Right.
And but also, here we go again. It's always something trivial, so that caused you to kill somebody or harm someone. And then they started fighting. And then I think somehow she pushes Racine away because Racine's only 50 pounds wet, and they run outside, and Ayana is saying, come on, let's go. So we as the audience, we think, oh, so maybe Ayana and the younger brother are kind of sensible, getting realized like, okay, Racine's becoming a crazy black woman, but then the brother turns on her and starts choking Ayana.
Right. Or Anaya. Yeah. So
Anaya, I'm sorry.
So by the time they get outside, you can tell there's a rift between the sisters because of Anaya's, connection with the other brother. But this is that moment where they have to remind you that no man is worthy of any
Trust.
kind of respect, trust, love, none of that. So this brother, this half brother of hers that she extends some trust to, even over her sister, turns around and starts to choke her out of nowhere. Just starts to choke her.
Yeah,
and so
out of nowhere, but it's expected because you are part and parcel responsible for my brother being killed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that's his sister. Right. He doesn't know that's his sister at all. He just knows these 2 chicks that came in his house, and your girl that's with you just killed my brother. Mm-hmm. Hell.
Yeah. No, we understand that. But you know how movies will sometimes he'll give her a side eye, or they'll give the audience some indication that he's not really on her side. They give us nothing. From what we can see, he's on board with Anaya.
Yeah, it it should have been a little bit longer in between there.
No build up.
Yeah, it was no build up. It was just immediate. Like, okay, she's saved you, you got outside, and now you choke. What kind of directed is that?
Yeah.
And again, and I thought, again, go back to failed writing. I don't blame him for choking her. Okay. at that moment, you killed my brother, my twin brother. I don't care. All of y'all gotta go.
Right.
I thought he was justified in his anger. So yeah.
So
and then a fight ensues with the three of them. She comes out, whatever her name is.
Racine.
She comes out, attacks him for choking her, and then they get in a scuffle, and then Anaya, I guess, impales him with...
Hold on, can I say something? Okay. Fight scene number 2. Okay? The younger brother puts up a good fight with these two.
Yep.
He starts... Now, mind you, he's choking Anaya, right? Racine jumps on his back. He gets her off. Then he starts choking Racine. Racine swinging on him. He decks her. He's pushing these women. He's fighting these women. And they're fighting him back too. But then he turns around and he gets the drop on Racine and he chokes her out. So I'm like, okay, something realistic, a realistic fight scene. Then we get the impaling in the back of the brother by Anaya.
Yeah. And they dump him in the pool where he just stays there dead.
And the pool turns into red Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So it's around this time.
Oh yeah.
You know what? So it's around this time that the father finally comes home. And they barely show his face throughout the movie. You only see glimpses of it most of the time, because he's supposed to be so imposing and terrifying. He finally shows up, and at that point, I think Anaya is pulling Racine into the house, kind of around. I didn't know if she knew he was there at first, but there's a point where she clearly does, and they're hiding under the dining room table. So he comes home and he just walks around the house very casually. Yeah. Sees his son dead. The mother's gone, the wife is gone. He's just walking around the house, just kind of taking it all in, and decides to make himself a sandwich.
And some chips.
Yes, they took the time to show us him pouring himself some chips. He sits down at the table that the girls are hiding under, and he basically says, "You might as well come out." He's just calmly sitting there eating a sandwich and invites him out. And Anaya's the only one that's awake, so she's the one that engages him. Does anybody want to have a stab at that conversation?
Yeah, it's kind of like he walks around like, oh, well, I just, I guess I have to make another family. Just heartless, and it really shows his calculation. And I'm jumping ahead because maybe I am jumping. I want to get there. You can go ahead.
Well, I mean, he definitely has no love for his family. There's no point where he says, "Oh my God, what happens to my son?" He doesn't call the police. He's not worried about it. I think at one point he just kind of says, that son he was going to be somebody.
No, wait a minute.
Well,
before even that, hold on.
I don't think that he doesn't care. It's just that he is unbothered by that situation. He's not bothered by the violence. Right. And the only question he asks her first, he sets up the rules in the conversation that they're going to have, but he asks her which one did die first. So he does care. He does care. He's just unbothered by violence. That's what it shows.
Because they start doing a quid pro quo, right?
Yeah, he tells Anaya, you say something, I say something. We tell.
But before they even had that, he looks at her and he says, "Well, you don't look scarred up that bad." So that automatically hits her, playing on how the way she's been judged by her scars and everything all her life. Now she sees her father So seeing how the way the father is always, black men are always calling or downcasting on women about their looks and everything. So that was that little stab at that trope.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
Like you see, like they're asking questions, but you see how the way he's just very nonchalant. He's asked, like he asked, well, who died first? And she tells the oldest one, and he's like, oh, okay. Who did it? And she said, he's like, all right. And he said, figures, she's the more stronger one out of the two of y'all. And she said, how did the other one die? She said, we had to take him out. It was self-defense. And then she started asking questions about him. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And how did this happen? And it's interesting. And the reason why it's interesting, because you see Sterling K. Brown's charisma and gravitas in this act as playing this villain with just calmness and precision, but very methodical, which is good, which adds some heaviness to and help to the movie. But it's like, okay, I'm still saying, why is this man like this?
Yeah. And we still don't get an explanation.
Right. Because we see he kind of sweet talks her.
Yeah.
You know, she's at him with the sock hammer or sock rock, whatever. And he's very calm. He talks to her very nice, asks if she's pregnant, when the baby is due, tells her just to leave here, you know, and just come back, you know, and I wanna be a grandpa. I wanna bounce your baby.
Oh God. Yeah.
You know, and I think he's even crying at this point. He has a tear that comes down. And so yeah, he really does comes off as this sweet character. And you know, and see, I'm sitting in the theater, okay, and like I said, I'm with the Lane Bryant crowd, and you know, and they say, she, you know how they say, you know, he's sweet talking. Remember what the mama told him? He got a soft side to him, you know.
That's the same thing I was thinking. I was like, this motherfucker putting that sit on it, boy. This is how you get these chicks. I'm like, he's gonna beat your ass. You know that, right? He's gonna beat you.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's able, right. And he's able to get the rock out of her hand, and then all of a sudden the monster comes out. He backhands her.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you see the symbolism? But did you see the symbolism of the trust?
Yeah, absolutely. But
remember the first,
but knowing she's pregnant on top of it all, it's a whole nother level of it. But go ahead.
But remember, he gives her what she's always wanted.
Yeah,
comfort. Because remember, he takes the rock, puts it on the bar, hugs her, and rubs her, my baby. Sits her on the chair. He's kneeling to her, and he looks at her, and he turns. Now, Artisan, we get the build up here. That's when he smacks her.
No, when he smacked her was after he did all of that. What did he ask me? How many months along? I'm like, oh shit.
12 weeks, yeah.
He decided that he hit her in the stomach or what.
Yeah.
And once she told him, he said, oh, okay. That's when he backhanded her.
Right.
Like, okay, that's funny.
Well, you know, as far as many black women are concerned, black men have PhDs in how to backhand a woman and be able to determine the best time of month during a pregnancy to do it. You know, this is a skill we all have from birth, you know.
Apparently.
The inherent pimp hands.
Inherent pimp hand. You know, had she said another month, he might have hit her somewhere else, because we have it down to a science. So, you know.
Yeah, because we connect the trimesters and all of that shit. So we know.
Damn it,
I gotta say though, Sterling's acting was the best acting in the film though.
Yes. He was phenomenal.
Yes, by far.
You mean better than Vivica's? What?
You mean Vivica was acting? I thought that was just her being herself. The hell you talking about? Sitting up there looking like Pizza the Hut.
Oh man, he said Pizza the Hut. God damn it. Anyway, So yeah. So now where are we at after he smacks her? Is this where Racine wakes up, or is there still something else that happens?
After a beat, after a beat.
Well, one at a time. What?
He does like a whole monologue, and
Yeah, he talks to Anaya, and they go back and forth a little bit because she tries to fight with Daddy a little bit. But he tells her something that I thought was actually kind of key, which is he tells her she complains about how he could have did all of that stuff, and he said, "I didn't do that. Your mama did it, grabbing onto it. I would just set her on fire, right?" But that he was young at one point. He was young, and he was reacting to emotion.
I gotta be honest. I don't think he was lying about that part.
I don't think he was lying either, Landon. I don't. That was the truth.
I think that was the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go into it a little more, Layman. What were you saying?
No, because when you look, and we talked about the coldness and the callousness of the mother, how she shows no love for them. You haven't seen these girls in 20 years. 20 years. You didn't even bother to spell the other one's name right. Now,
you didn't put her name on the envelope at all.
Exactly. Now, she's sitting up in that room with 4 goons braiding her hair. She could have sent them to go handle her ex.
Right.
But she chose to sacrifice the life of her daughters for her own vengeance.
Wow.
Okay. So it wouldn't surprise me that she would grab those girls just to punish him.
Wow.
Or she want to grab those girls to go and die with her.
Look, Layman, until they met the father, it was in my mind that she was the one that set them on fire, trying to punish the father.
And that's what I was trying to think out too, because I was trying to hope to hear his side of what really happened that day.
Exactly.
Right. I was looking forward to that too. But what you just said about the Layman, about the taking the daughters with her, that reminded me of Beloved, right? Where the whole question of, the mother killing her children so they don't end up going back into slavery. There's this kind of subtext there, but you can't deny the fact that if you love your children, you're not going to risk their lives by asking them to go kill the man that damn near killed you. You're going to keep your children as far from that as possible out of love for them. Vivica does the exact opposite while her daughters consider her God.
Well, you gotta understand something like that. You don't love your property.
Yeah.
You don't love something you own. A lot of people say, man, I love my car, but if your car got in an accident, you'll get another one. I love my nice Rolex watch. Okay. But if somebody steals it, I get mad. But if you have insurance on it, you'll get another one.
Right.
Sterling K. Brown didn't love his kids. Sterling K. Brown didn't love his kids. So he
loved his kids.
Well, he loved his sons because he said his oldest son was going to be something. But that's showing
he loved the daughters too. He loved the daughters too because he listened to his story. He set the mother on fire. She grabs them.
Okay.
That's why they got burnt. So he didn't set the girls on fire. He set the mama on fire. He was mad at the mom. Wasn't mad at the kids. He didn't do anything to the kids. And he started whooping Anaya's ass because she killed his 2 sons, his kids. So he actually did care about his damn kids. He just didn't care about the new women.
But if we agree that that's his version of love for his kids, we have to also look at this is a Black feminist story about how they see Black men's love, quote unquote.
Exactly.
It's a heartless, exploitive, cold love that has nothing. Because even the only thing he said about his son is he was going to be something. That's it. Okay. So the question we have to ask is, what is this film saying about Black men's capacity to love family? I mean, I sat in a graduate school class in 1997, and I remember the Black feminist professor say to the class, Black men do not love their families. So this is not just a movie where this is being said and performed in some kind of way. And we've seen scores of movies like this since the 1980s. This is something that was being taught in colleges and graduate schools across the country from a Black feminist perspective about Black men. We don't love family. We do not possess the capacity to, unless women train us. And this is what we see happening in therapy right now, right? This idea that women have to teach Black men how to love. And unless we sit at the feet of Black women to learn how to love, this is about the extent of our capacity as far as they're concerned. So they're oblivious to how many men work every day, damn near break their bodies to feed families and put kids through school or put them through whatever they need to get to so that they can thrive. All of that from this group of women is invisible.
Well, that goes to what you were talking about yesterday, that mental solipsism mindset that women have, especially our women in our community. This movie had this solipsism mindset, like you said. Black men are lower. Only I could say action oriented or real serious type of motive is violence, which Monster had. It was nothing. I mean, all right, somehow he provided this beautiful home, and they never said, see, here's another thing. We don't know what he done. What has he created? How has he got this beautiful house? Who is he? We get
nothing.
It's just this fictional boogeyman that's been placed.
But that's what's interesting about the imagination behind this. As far as they're concerned, it doesn't matter. His background, his life experience, even where he worked, it's all irrelevant. He is Monster.
Exactly.
That's it. And it's interesting to see that, because we've seen it, and hell, I know personally for a few of you up here, you guys have actually done it. You've taken care of families and taken care of every need they've had. And it's amazing to me how many, women with this, or really this feminist, will have this outlook that none of it matters. You're just a monster. And this is what they've been telling men. And it's breached race. Over a decade ago, they started calling men, period, toxic. But I've been saying this, when they started calling men across race toxic here in the West, that's long after 30, 40, 50 years of Black men not being shit, if not a century. Exactly. Black men being told we weren't shit. So this new anti-male toxicity thing was just layered over what many Black men had already grown accustomed to. So these kind of stories are interesting to me, because they're teaching, or at least attempting to teach, younger generations, especially of women, that men are not worthy of trust, love, affection, faith, sacrifice, none of it. They're worth none of it. There's not one man in this film worth any of it. And the worst mistakes the women make are when they try to trust
men.
Yeah.
Yep.
Believe in or love. Yes.
Yeah. So we get to, unless I'm missing anything else, we finally get to the big fight that the film has been leading up to. The two girls. Well, Racine is still kind of knocked out, I think, for a while. But I can't remember the transition into the fight, if anybody remembers that.
Yeah, she just woke up. Anaya and Monster were going at it, and then Anaya was a little bit down, and then Racine came in.
She jumps on the pop's back.
Jumps on the back like she knew how to fight or something.
He said like she knew how to fight or something.
Yeah, it was a MVP match, apparently.
Now, this is a man that ripped the tongue out of a grown man.
Thank you.
Right.
At a certain point, and he's getting mollywopped by these two girls.
He's besting them, right? Because here's the funny thing. There's a point where he's knocking her down. He knocks the living shit out of Racine, and she hits the floor. And then he's strangling Racine with one hand. Now, mind you, Sterling King Brown is a guy that's in great shape, fit, smacking Ayana around. But then somehow, the Holy Rock of Mjolnir gives them the power.
See what I'm saying?
The power of hyena.
But
they start beating him back and forth how the way. They start beating him back and forth how the way.
Yes,
Captain America and the Winter Soldier were beating Iron Man in Civil War.
And that's what I mean when I say mollywop. Because consider this: it's not even Sterling. This man has been portrayed to be an unholy monster this whole movie. I mean, there should be no way, based on how they've described this man, that they should be able to have a chance in hell. Doesn't make sense. But you're right. That was the perfect example. Yeah, Winter Soldier and Cap kicking his ass left and right.
Yeah, come on, girl. Let's get him. And then, and I felt sorry for Sterling K. Brown. He's doing his best. Injury stagger. And it's the symbolism where he sees his sons laying in the entryway or vestibule to the house and kind of lays next to them. And that's some other symbolism right there of death of men. And then he staggers into the bathroom. Y'all brothers can take it from there.
Does anybody want to go there?
Well, in not a Spawn fashion, he tumbles into the tile shower bathtub area, and one of the girls comes in there and throws some alcohol in him, and lights up a nice little match and sets him on fire. Turns him into the ghost whaler, and they get to sit there and watch him cremate in the bathroom.
Right,
screaming.
But she actually takes him into the bathtub.
She pushed him. Yeah, she pushed him into the bathroom. Yeah, she pushed him into the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first she starts shaking alcohol on him. He's like, and then she pushes him, and then she strikes the match and throws it on.
And I kind of remember him kind of giving like a laugh or a smirk when they headed towards the tub, as if to say, "Oh, this is coming." They're about to do this to me that I did to their mother.
Laughing at the irony.
Yeah. And just when you think it's all over and he's sitting in this tub burning, and the girls think they finally won, he snatches Racine into the flames.
One of my favorite scenes in the fucking flick.
Yep. And all of that harkened back to the attorney that said, who started talking about the cost of vengeance.
Yep.
So
what's that phrase? When you plan on vengeance, you dig two holes.
Yep.
Two graves. Yep.
You dig two graves. One for that person, one for you.
Yeah, and the question becomes, was it worth serving mama at the cost of your sister's life? Now, Racine is kind of crazy anyway, so she might have ended up doing something to cost her own life at some point. But that's not the point. The point is the mother charged Racine with this. Racine was happy to do it. You supported it. Was it worth losing your sister over?
Yeah.
That was, to me, the question, right? So they kind of give her into the sunset moment where you see her having the baby later, and she's happy with her child.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to talk about that part.
She got a pass.
Yeah,
I got to talk about that part. Okay. That tail end was so gynocentric and feminist, slapping in your face. That ending scene with her, even with the cinematic camera pull from her looking up, down, that's kind of like God looking down upon her and she's smiling. The writer director makes this like Anaya's victory, being the survivor and being alone for the first time in her life. Like,
right.
It's a breakthrough. She's a survivor. It's an empowering moment. But here's the crazy part where you see the symbolism. She's alone with a baby. She's a baby mama.
She's a baby mama.
No father present. Yep.
No father, no sister.
Yep.
She's just alone with the baby. Meaning that I don't need nobody. I can have this baby, but I'm going to bring this child up into this cycle of foolishness.
Yeah.
My thing is like how can you raise a child when you still have you just killed some people?
Yeah.
You just seen you still have tragedy from 20 years ago from being almost burned alive and seeing your mom burned alive, and now you seen your father burned alive and your sister get burned.
Mhm.
But somehow she's doing this little soliloquy of how she's free and it's empowering. How is she empowered? She's bringing a child into this world, no father.
Yeah.
What is she going to do with her life? She has no skills. Well, she can live off Big Daddy government.
Well, and this is the break from other feminist films. Usually they end with, women being together. I mean, that seems to be the Black feminist answer to all problems, is the relationship with other women. This one shifts to where you don't even get any indication she's reconnected with her mother or that her mother's still around. It's just her and her baby. So now it's shifted to baby mamaism is the solution to be happy alone.
Well, baby mama is the freedom that the other woman, the actual wife of Monster, was trying to get to.
Yeah,
exactly.
She got that freedom.
And it's poor timing because we're in an era where we're seeing, single mothers, black women especially, living in what do you call it? Short-term hotels, motels. What do you call those? I forget the term.
Extended stays.
Extended stay. Thank you. Right, extended stay hotel. I'm still seeing them delivering DoorDash and upscale cars. I mean, this is a bad time for the single mother is heaven narrative.
And here's the crazy part. Ruby, God, knew what's her name was pregnant, but she still sent her daughter off to go.
That's right.
Kill.
Yeah, she figured out the pregnancy first.
Yep, she's sensitive.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're sensing that your daughter has your grandchild in her womb growing as we speak.
Right.
But you don't even care for that.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Monster cared more. Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Exactly.
Monster cared more than she did.
Well, that shows you that they're calling their mother God, even though this so-called God sent them to kill somebody else with no regard for the life that's growing in her.
Yeah.
And the person she sent that was supposed to be the devil was actually the one who cared, like, get out of here, get away from this, this wasn't meant to happen for you and all the rest of us. That's the one that actually cares, even though at the end of the day, when she pushed him, you're like, okay, well, here we go.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's just an interesting little thing to me. Like, yeah, she knew way better. I was pissed off that we didn't get a epilogue of what happened with God. Did God find out she killed that man?
Mm-hmm.
Or did she just sit there with her 4 bruises, probably your sisters, and not actually be dying? Just set y'all off on a dummy mission.
Yep.
That's what I said. I said this is a dummy mission, a suicide mission. But like how you said, Dr. T, this is, you do videos like this, and Kofa does this, and other Black male content creators have done this. And Layman, you've also do this. You do this every day on your show. You're seeing Black women send Black men on dummy missions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sending these men on these dummy missions, you're sending them into certain death.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're even setting these men up to go into certain death.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when I saw her, when she said, I said, oh, so this is pit bulling right off the bat.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Although I normally reserve the term for when Black men are weaponized, but you're right. It's still, that's what she did. She sent her kid and did so in heartless fashion, and that's supposed to be the example of love. And the maternal is supposed to be the example of love. I didn't see any she expressed for her kids at all. That's the cold part.
No,
Well,
it's the way the man that they villainize in the movie cares more than the mother, right?
Yeah. They were just utilities.
Exactly.
Just like we always see, I mean, even in real life, when you see this pit bullying or this proxy violence, these women, they don't have an issue using their sons, their brothers, their fathers, their cousins to throw them off on these dangerous missions, you know. And if that's one thing the film got accurate, it was that.
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
And the dumb thing is, because like Artisan, you said, nobody's smart here. In the beginning, they don't even know what they're going to do. And Anaya says, well, how are we going to do this? And Racine says, well, I don't know. We'll figure something out. And I just start shaking my head. And the women around me and the people are laughing. And I'm like, y'all laughing at something like this? I said, how many times do you think this happens when you hear men doing this or young men doing this? Well, how are we going to do this? I don't know. We just going to go up there and smoke them. Really? Like that, like that lady.
That's why they thought it was funny, Malika. That's why they thought it was funny. This is funny for them because it's common. They know how stupid it sounds. But this is how they think. That's why they thought that shit was funny. I didn't find it funny at all. It sounded like some really dumb shit to do. Like this woman has forgotten about y'all for your whole life. And now she's supposedly close to death. She want to talk to you for a hot minute. And the hot minute that she got to talk to you, she want to send you off to go try to kill somebody you ain't even met before. Don't even know.
And
you ain't got no question for her other than that. She God. How did God abandon you? I'd be asking her a lot more goddamn questions than just, oh yeah, mama told me to go do this, so this is what I'm gonna go do. You tripping?
Didn't they? I think they tried. I think they tried to suggest that her disappearing was some kind of sacrifice because she didn't want her daughters to see her that way. I'm like, that's
your daughters was burnt.
That's what Anaya said. We was burnt up too.
Exactly.
Like, no, but this is mama. We gotta love it. Man, this is some bullshit. Y'all not asking enough questions to the right person.
Well,
they said you to kill somebody? Oh hell no.
Yeah, see, it made no sense. It just made no sense. There is something I want to share with you guys, but I can't tell if this is. I think this is the one. No, this is not the one. I'll share this in. Well, all I was going to share about this one is the filmmaker suggests that the reason she did this film was because she was upset about Breonna Taylor. Right? She was upset that Breonna Taylor didn't get as much attention as black men who had gotten killed. So her response was to make a movie about killing black men. So you let the logic of that make sense to you, however much it does.
So it was an emotional rant.
It was a what?
It was an emotional rant just to slander men because you was upset at men.
Pretty much. And this is the second. This is one I really wanted to show you.
Okay.
This was addressing the question of why Sterling K. Brown took this role and why you want to be part of the film. So he says, so there's the macro and the micro. I love black women and I love seeing black women win, right? I thought this was an incredibly creative script, something different and new. And I think that we as a community have been asking for creative and new stories, right? And I feel like the more diverse the landscape of stories are that we get to tell, the more people will stop putting us into a box in terms of what a black movie is, what a black story is. We are everything. And so the opportunity to do everything is something that excites me. Alicia Harris wrote a play, then she adapted the play and she directed the play. And I think she did so brilliantly. I also love the idea that black women get a chance to be messy in this film, like hella messy. I feel like oftentimes we're asked in many stories to be voices of reason, sort of the sensible side component of a larger story. And that's not the case in this. That is exciting to me.
Okay, well, thank you for putting that out there because I was really wondering, and I went over it in my review. I think that I like Sterling K. Brown as an actor, really do. He's one of my favorite actors right now. But I thought this role, him playing this role, is just him being Mr. for a new generation, and then we're going to ruin his career.
Right.
Now, from what he's saying here, it can sound like, okay, yeah, it's entertaining to play something outside of your character because you've played some other fathers that have really been good, some really good fathers. You just sullied all that playing this role. But this asshole, come on, man. I know somebody had to do it. Damn.
But there's a contradiction. Stop putting us into a box. This movie keeps you in the box.
Right.
Yeah. You're not breaking boundaries with this. You're playing a role that's already a locked-in stereotype for black men.
Right.
Not just for black men, for the
murdering fathers.
For black women too.
Well, I was saying that when I was watching this, it's like this could have been a Tyler Perry movie, right?
Yes. Yes. Only thing missing is he didn't sexually violate his daughters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's the only thing missing. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Or that he didn't ask Vivica to shave him before he threw her in a bathtub.
Exactly. Or
she wouldn't let her touch him.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
man.
it depends really if it does well, which the weekend opening it didn't do well. So I mean this will probably be a movie most people won't forget about by the indication of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, to the point raised earlier about millennials and those who are younger watching things on streaming, whether or not this will get a new wave once it hits streaming services, I don't know. But it shouldn't have been released in theaters, really. It should have been just released. Matter of fact, it should have been on Tubi.
yeah.
Well, 14 million is a big budget for a Tubi movie.
If the outcome is still a Tubi movie,
Well,
you
you
might
gotta
as well put it on
understand something,
Tubi.
man. Think about the producers and how the way, like you said, who greenlit this shit.
Mhm.
You only had one man that was the executive producer. And the executive producer is the one that's really going to help them bankroll getting this movie made. But then you see all these other producers who are female. One is also a well-known actress who has her own production company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, as long as you have all this and they realize, oh, we understand the theme. And if especially it's a theme about black men being a certain stereotype, oh yeah, we're going to get greenlit. And you're saying, well, why does? Because it's showing us in a bad light. If it's not just showing men, but specifically still dealing with the systemic level of racism, white supremacy, that we're still going to project these images. How the way, we're still going back from Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
We're still going to project these images.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked the question, Malika. When I watched this, what's the difference between Monster and Joe Jackson? You got these in the same year. What's the difference between the two?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
I just watched an interview with Tito the other day, and he was like, this shit has just gotten out of hand. He was like, look, my father was a cat who out of the 50s. It was what it was. He wasn't a monster. He didn't kill us. He whooped us with a belt. He said, but that was common for the era. He was trying to say
That's
all
what
of this Joe hate shit has gotten way out of pocket, and it's been out of pocket for years, but it's gotten to an extreme. Now, unless there was some shit that we ain't heard, that, some sexual violation, I've heard rumors here and there, but I've seen nothing verified. Until I can see something verified, I'm just looking at a man who's a reflection of his era.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Jackson isn't
That's what I
portrayed.
saw.
He isn't portrayed well in that new biopic. Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. So Tito was like, look,
Acted well. Yeah, he's acted well, but it's not a good portrayal of Joe.
But Tito was like, look, man, he had, what was it, 8 or 9 kids in the middle of the hood? 10 kids? And he was like, all our friends were going to jail at a certain point. The same kids we were playing with in the park, and we were playing with as kids, ended up getting killed, going to jail. I'm like, yeah, he had to be like that way. Shit, my dad was that way, and we wasn't in the hood like that. Yeah. So, but this hatred for not only black men but the black father. See, I think that's significant too, because the idea of the father is the one that sets the order in the family, that sets direction.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
assassination of the very idea of the Black father is deeper than just their hatred for men. The hatred for men is the foundation, but that is a very specific act of aggression toward Black men. It's targeted at the father. And I think that we need to see it that way in regard to what they're actually doing in these kinds of films. Because if you go back to Color Purple, Mister is still a father. He was the one that was the decision maker in that environment. These feminists are attacking the idea of male headship, the very idea that Black men can make decisions and set order in the family. All of this to justify the idea of freedom, right? Whether it's freedom by women coming together and what they call a mommune. You guys been hearing about these communes that women are getting together and bringing their kids and they're creating spaces just for themselves. Whether it's that or riding off into the sunset as a single mother by yourself, the idea is that it's freedom, but not freedom from white society, not freedom from white supremacy or any of that. Freedom from Black men.
Yeah.
But then here's the funny thing, right? When you actually say this to these Black feminist women, when did we keep you prisoner?
There you go.
When you say to them, I say, in the annals of time, and since we've been over here from Africa and through slavery, when did we ever hold you at bay or made you become prisoners?
You know what you get? You get individual stories of somebody beating their grandma. This is what I've noticed over the decades.
Exactly.
When we used to get into these debates about the existence of Black patriarchy, it always turned into individual stories of abuse. And 9 times out of 10, when you ask the woman who was telling you the story, has she been abused? She was like, no. But my grandpa had smacked her, and I'm just like, okay. So somehow patriarchy has been distilled down to individual stories of abuse that happened years ago. Okay.
And the big piece of chicken.
And the big piece of
trust
chicken.
me, bro.
What'd you say, Lane?
No, it's the trust me, bro. I don't have any facts, data, or statistics to point this out, but I know somebody, or my grandma says she just, it's always, personal experiences as a counterbalance.
It's
like verified stories.
And also projecting their own personal experiences upon other people. Like in the movie Not Easily Broken, when Jennifer Lewis is assuming that Morris Chestnut is going to beat Taraji P. Henson because she got into it with Taraji P. Henson's father, and she said, he hit me. And she said, yeah, but I talked to Dad about that. You were having an argument with him, and you were pushing him, and you were bothering him, and that caused the argument to get even more, and that caused him to put his hands on you. But still, he hit me. She said, all men hit. So you're projecting your own personal anecdotal experience that all men, all Black men, are somehow going to turn into some violent, carnivorous, feral, beating person.
Well, there's no accountability when it comes to women's behavior. That's definitely part of the conversation, or what's lacking from it. But the other thing I'm noticing, even with some of my students, is when you start hearing these young women describe abuse, it's really becoming a catch-all category. I've heard them get to the point where arguments are now considered emotional or psychological abuse.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I've heard that.
Abuse used to mean you got kicked through a wall. Now it means that he disagreed with you and your feelings got hurt.
Online
Well,
disagreement.
you know what that sounds like, Dr. D? It sounds like your mother said you were disrespectful just because you disagreed with her.
There you go.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like I cannot be wrong in any situation. Anything you do opposite of what I want you to do has to be in some way pathologized or criminalized to make you wrong in that situation.
Yeah.
And also, I do not have to be accountable for my actions, even if I'm at fault and the instigator of such problem or said situation.
Right. There is no accountability. You have to get on board or you're the problem. And if this is if monster or Mr., either way, is the context for how Black men act, You're always guilty unless she gives you a reprieve. Unless she tells everybody you're a good man, it's assumed that you're guilty. You're a problem.
That was one of the things I found so interesting about this movie. One of the few things is that when they went to these different women, you saw different sides of this man that's called Monster. You find out later on. You saw different sides of him. One was this religious woman. The other one was this real kept together, really organized, and all the rest of this stuff. And I'm looking at all this and saying, okay, this is not necessarily a bad thing. So what are you trying to say about this?
Right.
You know, that none of these things are actually bad, right? He had a woman that was at one house that was really religious and believed in him that he was going to come back and all this. Even though he went for milk, she still thought he was coming back, right? He had a son that was there that really loved his father and really stood up for his father. So much so, somebody showed him to his house, claiming to be his sisters. Mm-hmm. His half-sister said they were going to do something to his daddy. He was out there about to do something to them. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to do anything to my daddy. So he was protective of his father. You go along that whole path and see all these things that, okay, outside of this burden of this woman, which you ain't really told me how that even happened, it seems like he's not overly a bad person. It just seems like he has a wiring streak.
Right.
And then even when you finally meet him, you have killed his two sons and his wife. And he's sitting down having a conversation with you, eating a sandwich and chewing on chips. Oh, I don't know. It's something really weird going on in the person's mind who wrote this, that all these other things are totally discounted and considered bad, but all this other stuff, twerking on the side of the road, I'm pregnant with some dude that only wants to hit me from the back and never look at my face. I'm going to go look like I'm topping off my half brother upstairs. All of this stuff is okay.
And of course,
but all this other actual normal shit is frowned upon.
Well, and of course, remember the whole theme of the movie is the mother sending them to kill their father. I mean, that's not a problem. The whole film that's not bad at all. Oh, okay. Well,
that's the reason
I
for this
didn't know
road
what this
trip.
film was when I stepped into it, and once it got to that part, I was like, "Oh, this looks like life." This is what single mothers do with kids all the time. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
It doesn't even need to be this over the top, because we're in a reality now where if you have committed any act of infidelity, you have women that think you deserve to not only be physically abused, but possibly killed because you've cheated. I've conducted these discussions in so many classes. It's amazing that as long as he cheated on her, and I've seen this in social media too, if you cheated on a woman, anything that happens to you is valid. Mm-hmm. Anything. You can die, and people's response is, well, you cheated on her, as if to suggest that's worthy of that.
I had a discussion.
But it doesn't work the opposite direction. It doesn't work in the opposite direction.
No.
Exactly.
It never works.
I was about to touch on that. I had a talk with my aunt when I was about 22, 23. My grandfather was caught cheating on my grandmother, and my grandmother got mad and cutting up his clothes, putting on bleach. And these people are in their 60s, right? So she kicks him out, and my grandfather was staying with the woman he was cheating on. And it was trying to culture shock, because these are the people that raised me. So some years later, we're talking about this, and I mentioned this to my grandmother, and this is when I had my red pill awakening. Not grandma, my aunt. And I had my red pill awakening. And I'm talking to my aunt about this. I said, well, remember when Nana and Pop broke up and Pop cheated on her? She's like, yeah. I said, Nana gets mad at Pop and she's hitting on him and everything and all the other stuff. She's like, well, yeah. My aunt, I could see she's getting very defiant, and she takes after my grandmother. And I said, hold on, before you get mad at me, I said, calm down. I understand you get emotional, find out a man cheats on you, you want to put your hands on him. I said, now, you and I are both cops. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And she kind of says that. She's like, no. I said, okay. I said, don't make this personal.
Right.
I said, so if Nana cheated on Pop, Is it right for him to put his hands on her?
Right.
And she's like, no. I said, but then I said, let's get to something. Listen, you ain't gonna like what I got to say. You might not even forgive me. I said, but do you think it was right for him to cheat on her? She said, what do you mean? No, it was wrong. I said, really? I said, this was a woman who I observed who emasculated him. This is a man who took in your sister, my mother, who is not his biological daughter. This is a man who worked his fingers to the bone as a spot welder, building chassis underneath trains, underneath trucks for 35 years, bring his money home to his wife, raise 5 kids and 1 grandson. That's me. Was he perfect? No. But this is a woman who sat on her butt, got fatter. I said, I'm not disrespecting my grandmother. I'm just stating facts. Emasculated him. Didn't want to do nothing with him. Wanted to take her out. She didn't want to do anything. So she sat there. So if he's not getting any love at home and he's getting nothing but chaos and dysfunction, why wouldn't he go somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
And she got quiet for a minute. And I said, I'm not saying it's right. I said to her, hold on. I said, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just stating the facts and reality. And she kind of got quiet and she didn't say nothing after that.
Go ahead.
I've said it before. I like it from going through this on both sides of it. Is that a man cheating is not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem.
Yes.
And it's something that's already happening in the home that the woman's not doing. Because the best example that I use, it sounds funny as hell, is that why would Tiger Woods, a successful man with a lot of money who really worked himself to get to the position he got to, he got a pretty wife at home and kids. Why is he out, cheating with the waitress at the restaurant?
Mm-hmm.
Because the waitress is nice to him.
Yep.
That's one. Because the waitress is nice and she listens to him.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you all saw in the last couple of weeks when they found out these white women were coaching each other to get with black men. And when you listen to the coaching, as it were, really what it boiled down to was be the woman that he wants. Cater to, if you want a high profile, if you want a man, period, you don't got to be high profile. If this is the man you want, you're going to have to become the woman he wants. That's essentially what it was. But a lot of the advice was be a resource, be nice, support him, be kind to him. The only reason you don't hear this being talked about with any other group of men is because no other group of men experience the kind of disrespect and as a repeated act like black men. This is why white women can have this strategy. Be nice to him, support it. Patrice O'Neal said it. He used to talk about it. He said when these guys go to college and they meet white girls, he said it wasn't that they were white necessarily. He said when these girls start saying, okay, he had that whole bit about white girls saying, okay, can you make me a sandwich? Okay. He was like, the word okay. What he was really speaking to was compliance, was cooperation. He said black men are not used to that. Black men are not.
What else he did?
What also,
what Patrice did, he was talking with a woman and a woman was being just very abrasive and rude. And he said, make me like you. Mm-hmm. He said, shut up, stop arguing, make me like you. And she's like, well, what do you mean? He says, exactly. Your problem is, he says, make me like you. Say something that can make me like you.
He did more than that. I heard him on one radio show. It was a woman that called in. It was a white woman, and she was pissed at the stuff he was saying. She was yelling at him. She was cursing at him. He said, and within a few minutes, he had her laughing. And he pointed out to the audience, he said, I did that on purpose. He said, I can become what she needs to feel good about me. I can become that. She said, they can't become that for us. They don't know how to. They're unwilling to.
Right.
I saw him demonstrate it.
Exactly.
She called to cuss him out. And within a few minutes, he had her giggling and laughing and all of that. And he said, I did that on purpose. But that's the breakdown. That's the dynamic. you know. But look, I really want to thank you all for your sacrifice. And I apologize to Artisan because I got I think I miswrote the message. I was calling for the Justice League to come together and break down the film. He thought I was talking about an animated movie I wanted him to see. I said, no. We are the Justice League, you know what I mean? And we come together every now and again when these films come out. Now,
can I say so, Doc?
Wait, real quick. This one, people have been hitting me about for months. So we can't say this film didn't have advertisement. People have been talking about this movie for months, but this one I had to hit because people were asking for it like crazy. But go ahead, Malika, what's up?
You need to call us the anti-black female Misandrist League.
The League of Anti-Misandrists.
Yeah.
I would tell y'all, man, I don't think I would have survived the Woman King without y'all, man. I was done. I was done. I was so done, man.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Layman? When you said earlier this week, he said, man, I was not going to see this movie, but I had to do this. And when you told me, man, a couple of weeks ago, you said, hey, Malika, I need you to go get the lead together. We're going to see. I said, and I was hopeful it wasn't this movie. I said, oh, this nigga want me to go see this shit. Oh, God, I said, oh, you want us to be like the black guys in the Titanic playing the music while the shit goes down. Oh, God.
Yeah, man. But, you know.
Yeah, I'd walk past this poster at the movies a couple of times. Like, yeah, I'm not watching that. So the only reason I watched it because Dr. T asked me to. Like,
exactly.
Okay.
When he said, he wanted to have a panel, I was like, cool, let's do it. And I was like, oh, damn, I got to go watch the movie.
Right, exactly.
Luckily,
you know what's so funny? You know what's so funny?
I had free movie tickets.
See, you was lucky, man.
You wasted your free movie tickets on this? Oh, my God.
I was scouring the internet to see if I could get a bootleg or a download something. I was like, man, I do not feel like going to the movie theater to see this. I was like, oh, there's something. And, it's always like a movie that you don't want, or Dad, they got this on streaming. This came out last week, or this been out for a couple of days.
Yep.
Not this bullshit.
Not the one.
Oh God.
But I mean, when I sat in the theater, that's what I was thinking of. I saw the Amazon logo come up and said, I could have watched this at home, Dr. T. What the hell?
Exactly.
Was it on Amazon?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I was sitting in the movies when I saw that.
I think it was
about this movie.
I think it was distributed through Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes, Amazon Studios.
Was this worse than Woman King?
Yes.
It was worse.
Well,
they neck and neck.
I don't know. Here's the part that makes me laugh about this movie. Woman King, look, there's two white women that wrote this shit, so they can believe whatever the hell they want. They wasn't there. So whatever. I thought fight scenes was good, and I liked some of the chicks in this. This ended up rubbing my ratchet bone because apparently I like ratchets a little bit. So them looking the little ratchet and style of track, I was like, oh, okay, but the story is shit. So there were some beats in it that actually made me giggle, but overall, and as whole, I don't know, they might be about the same. Even though I put the white women low because they really don't know shit about black folks, and they wrote the Women King, and then the black woman wrote this one. I was like, you should know better, but you did this anyway. So, okay.
I do these breakdowns because I heard a young cat tell me, he was like, well, it's just movies. It's just movies. And I'm like, yeah, I used to say that too until I started paying attention. And when one decade passed and another decade passed, and I started to look at the accumulation of these ideas, and I started to look at how women's behavior began to adapt to it. I mean, I watched this shit evolve. I mean, if you remember, going back to Color Purple to now, you've seen women's behavior in the world change with these images and these messages. So I'm like, yeah, it may be a movie on one level, it may be entertainment, but let's not pretend that these programs don't program. Let's not do that.
Well, they're creative.
Yeah, well, that's my problem with it. Yeah, that's my problem with it, Dr. T. I can see it as a movie. It's fake. It's not real. But if you start wanting to act this dumb shit out and make that a part of your actual life and make that a reality, that's where the problem comes in. It's not, for me, it's not necessarily the movie in itself or presenting the idea because it's all fake.
Right.
It's you taking that on and trying to make that reality. That's where the problem is. That means you have a deficiency.
Yeah.
The movie can be about anything. Look, people watch slasher movies every day, but everybody ain't going out there thinking it's time to play scary movie. Okay, it just doesn't happen like this. Some people have an idea of being able to separate this medium from being reality and being something fake, and a lot of people nowadays don't. They think this is supposed to just be reality. It's not. It's all fake.
And it's not just movies. It's TV. It's media in any form. But I remember, the first argument I got in with my woman, and it sounded just like a Mary J. Blige song, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Which is mostly what she listened to anyway. But I was like, "This shit is this is coming to life." It was like she was waiting for the first opportunity to act out a Mary J. Blige song. I was like, "This shit is real to them."
Well, how many women have reenacted that scene from Waiting to Exhale in some kind of way, right? Where she blows up the car.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. To me, that goes into how, at least with me, it goes into how you train your children, what you expose them to, and what you tell them about stuff. When I put this movie in front of my granddaughter, fuck them. Unless I was going to sit there with her and explain to her what the hell is going on, what's wrong with it. The same way we have a discussion about it, I'm going to sit there and talk to her about it and walk her through this shit so she don't end up thinking, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be. You're not, bro. Right. This is a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
But you know what the thing is about the stereotyping, where you have this outrageous view of what monster is. But how many race scenes are out there? How many race scenes that we know are out there?
That's how she made it, right? Blonde extensions down to their booty and everything else. I'm like, bro, a black woman wrote this? Oh, she was really being funny, wasn't she? But monster is clean cut and everything else.
But when I'm talking about just the character, not the character and so, but her character, how many race scenes that we know that are we can go to a Dunkin' Donuts, we can go to Target, we could walk down the street, Walmart, and we see 20 million race scenes. Hell, we probably have race scenes in our family. And
yes, I do.
And they're always going to wonder why you don't want to come to the cookout because of race scene.
Yep.
When they showed the mother, the first thing I thought of was Kevin. I was like, oh, it's a cousin. Imagine.
Exactly.
I think Layman was going to say something. What were you going to say, Layman?
No. And it's just, people always, like you were talking about, it always gets under my skin. Oh, it's just a movie. It's just a movie. People have to understand. Think about an entire generation was afraid to go to the beach because they saw Jaws and how that affected the population, for summers, Yeah, and we all know how, Birth of a Nation brought back the Triple K movement. It was dead until that movie came back. So we can have countless examples of how movie can affect the culture.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
but the hatred of black men is such a unique trope that people really think it's benign, but I think it's reached a serious fever pitch in the last 40 to 50 years. I really think it's gotten to a whole nother level, to the extent that people find it normal. That's the problem I have with it. It's not that people are running around the streets holding up signs saying, men are monsters, even though I've seen that at various points. It's more so that it's become so normalized that it's just Tuesday afternoon. It doesn't matter. It's just,
Yeah, because it's happened so much. That's all it shows, is that it's happened so often that it has become normalized.
Yeah.
It's not, I can't say that there are men that have been that monstrous, but by and large, all of them aren't. So it's been pushed in their face so much that people just finally believe it. You tell a lie long enough, people will believe it.
I'm gonna tell you what's cold about it. When you meet, especially young women who have this outlook, And, you know, and I'm talking again, you know, with some of my students, and then you start to ask them questions about their own lives, and you find that they don't have misters or monsters. This is something they picked up and run with. But when you really get into their lives, it's like you don't live that. That's not your reality. You have men that helped you get where you're at. You can name them. The fathers, the brothers, the boyfriends who, you know, helped you along the way. And you jump onto a depiction of men that you have no direct experience with. And most of the men you interact with, especially in your family, are the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at college students whose fathers and brothers helped them get into the classrooms and helped them graduate. I see them at the graduations celebrating with the fathers that paid their way through there. And I'm just looking at it like, how can you disrespect, you know, the men that got you here with this shit?
It's the unwritten contract of hyena hive mind.
Come on.
It's that hyena hive mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, you know, when Jet Black talks about, you know, even the good black women have to fake like they don't like us. Because if they go out and they say, and here's the funny thing. You got 5 men on this panel, 5 square men. And I'm not saying square in a bad way, square in a good way. We wouldn't put a finger on you. Men, we go to bed at decent hours. We have jobs. Men have raised children. Men that are educated, respectful. You know, the kind of men that y'all say we're all the good man at. But then at the same time, you don't want to tell your girlfriends, like, Racine's getting mad at her sister. Oh, you got a man? He ain't nothing but a bitch. She's quick to call the dude a bitch. And he's bad. He's going to be all bad for you because she wants to keep you to herself because misery loves company. But somehow we're only seen as utility. See, the girls are seeing the fathers, the brothers, the uncles, the pastors, the male mentors. Yeah, they're helping. That's the benefit. It's the utilitarianism. It's the ConcuSurf.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you're doing something that benefits me, it's cool. But you just being you, good, and being moral for the sake of just being that because you're a man, no.
Yeah.
No, you can't have that. You can't have that view because this big brush has been painted. You're supposed to be monster. Right. Even though if you're good looking, charming, beguiling.
You know what it leads to when you are kind and generous and all those kind of things. What it leads to is you have a bunch of people that are waiting for the other shoe to drop. The nicer you are, the more they're waiting. He's going to do something one day. He's going to smack me across the room like that movie. It's like, and you mess around and lose somebody that was in your corner because you just can't trust. You can't open up. You know, it's ridiculous.
I told you about my life, Dr. T. That was what people was saying about me. One person said one thing and they believe that shit without even asking me about it. Like, oh, well, you're always, you know, so calm and controlled. I'm like, so it made sense that somebody said some outlandish shit like that? Yeah. Come on, you wanted to believe that shit anyway, is what it was. You ain't never seen me do anything like that.
And that's precisely it. That's precisely it, Artisan. You wanted to believe that. Because I know brothers who've been married for decades whose wives still act like, you know, these men are monsters. And they haven't done anything to them. And I've seen marriages end. And these brothers go find other women before their initial wives actually said, you know what? He didn't do any of the things I treated him like he did. You know, it took a divorce and him moving on before they even acknowledged that. I've seen it.
Yeah, because now the delusion is gone. Now the reality is here because you're stuck alone with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And all those people that were putting those batteries in your back, they ain't there. So now you're stuck with yourself and you're dealing with the reality.
Yeah, not even white feminists are there. White feminists cheered a lot of this shit on in black women and then turned around and got married.
Yeah.
You know, but
They looked and said, I ain't doing what that bitch did. I'm messing up my family. It's better to watch her burn her house down than me burn down mine.
Shout out to Black Mind, Jet Black.
Yeah, shout out to Jet Black. Peace to the brother. What I want y'all to do is really just give your final thoughts, and then go ahead and close out. And go off screen each at one at a time. But your final thoughts on anything regarding the movie, anything we covered. Just to anybody that's curious about this film. And I'm just going to go in backward order from what I'm seeing. So I'm going to start with Malika. But I want to be clear. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching this movie and bothering to come up here. I know y'all got crazy schedules, so thank you for that. But starting with Malika, go ahead and tell us your final thought on all of this.
Definitely some modern feminist propaganda. Definitely some modern black male hate propaganda. I'm glad that you had this talk about it, because now we're putting it out in the ether, and you have a big platform where you're not only putting it out with black men, but with some black women, but you're putting it out and letting it be known, and it's raising the consciousness of people. And we're seeing how the way media is continually perpetuating the image of, dissolution of the black family. Definitely the emasculation and dissolution of the black male image. But this is something that we need to talk about, even though it hurts, even though we really didn't want to go see it. But it's something that needs to be talked about, because no one else is going to step up and do it. So I'm glad that we did it. And I feel honored coming up here to talk about it with you gentlemen. But also, we're talking about it from a mature, analytical lens, not from an emotional or an angry lens, how the way people want to paint the red pill narrative that we're a bunch of angry, toxic men. No, this movie was angry and toxic. And for what reason? To only perpetuate more bad stereotypes that keeps our people separate. And it's a shame, because you had two fine black male actors in here who have a great body of work. And whatever Sterling K. Brown said, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude, that sounds good in the moment. It sounds good put out there. But I'm like, when you see McKeith Wilson and Sterling K. Brown in this, it's like, now I kind of felt what Danny Glover felt like, and Adolph Caesar might have felt like, 40 years ago when they did The Color Purple. You know what I mean? Fine, awesome actors, but it's work in Hollywood. So they got to bend the knee to get it out there. So we're going to get fine actors to play a role that is deplorable. Yeah. But I thank you again, brother, and I thank you for coming up, and peace to all the brothers that gave awesome views. And I will catch you tomorrow morning at 7, brother.
Hey, man, appreciate it. And I will holler at you soon, man. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Artisan, give us your thoughts, man.
First of all, thanks for having me. I'm Dr. T. Apologize for being late. Like I said, I had to take care of the Bill's part first. But I'm not disappointed that I watched the movie, because psychologically it helps to know what's out there and what kind of ideas are being pumped out there. Although I still look at it as a movie, my more main concern is how people take it in, and if they want to believe this bullshit narrative that this is what black men like, this is what black women are, this is a view of reality in a sense. I understand this is all like I said, some propaganda, and I hate seeing the idea of fathers and black men just constantly degraded. That any decency or decent thing that you can do is always maligned in some kind of way to make it pathological or criminal that you're doing things this way. The movie was kind of funny that a black woman wrote this, but kudos to her for writing the play and getting it made into a major motion picture, but you really need to ask yourself, what did you put out into the world? Is this representative of your best work? Is this the ideas that you want to put forward, or was it just, an emotional tirade you had one day over one event? And now you get to share that trauma bonding with all of us who watched this goddamn movie. Like I said, be aware of what's in the environment, and that's seeing things like this. I'm not saying you have to give it a full price, but watch it so you understand what these conversations are about. If somebody makes a reference to, oh, it's like as God is, you understand what that context is and not just regurgitating what somebody else said. Get your experience with it so you understand what it is you're fighting against and what you are going to be dealing with, because inevitably there will be some soft-headed people that will take this on and be looking at you like you're a monster sooner or later. So you need to understand what that is and how to deal with it for yourself. But thank you for having me up. And yes, I understand that I was the Justice League, so I'll remember that the next time you don't signal out. I know it will not be an animated movie.
Well, look, man, I want to make sure we don't have to do a show on it, but I want to definitely holler at you when He-Man comes out. I want to definitely hear your perspective on it. So,
absolutely, because I want to. I'm definitely going to do that, and I got to get Mr. Charles because that's the biggest He-Man fan in the Black Manosphere. So we got to have a conversation about this and get his feel on for sure. And I know you already got the Master Sword, so I'm going to be talking to you about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, definitely, I will go see that, and possibly I will crank this out this week.
All right, cool, man.
Latest season. But thank you guys. Appreciate you on the panel, and peace.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Peace. Greg, go ahead, man. Thank you for coming through. Greg is a regular and a damn co-host at this point with the film reviews we do on the 1st and 15th on Patreon. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on this, man.
37th entry in the Color Purple franchise. I think that it didn't really move the needle. It actually, if you open the IMDb and you look at the top producer, Bravo, I think her name is. If you look at her past work, this is on track. So I think she's the one who got this probably financed. Yeah, and she directed this movie called Zola. Terrible movie. So yeah, she being the main producer, she's definitely a name to look out for as far as these kind of projects.
Okay.
Yeah, the Tyler Perry kind of stuff, this stuff is dying out. The Weekend, it didn't make more than 10 million in the weekend opening. This stuff's dying out, I think.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, sure. Because it's well past due.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah, Sterling did a great job though. I just wish he would have showcased his acting in another different movie. But yeah, this is anti-Black misandry.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's nothing more to say about it.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you. All right, man. Holla at you soon.
All right.
Peace. And y'all know I've been telling you, make sure you support Layman's Journal. Layman, go ahead and lay it out, man. What are your final thoughts about this?
Okay, one of the things that I notice is that a lot of directors, writers, and producers tend to self-insert when it comes to their work. Okay. I was just listening to a story about, I forget the woman's name, but I'll go another example. You look at George R.R. Martin. The Tyrion character is based off of him and his personality and things that he would say in situations. So whenever you see a movie like this, it's always important to look into the background of the person who made it. Okay, just to understand their mindset. So I looked into Miss Alicia Harris. She's the writer, director, producer, or the writer and director of the film. And I saw this article in Rolling Stone that says that her inspiration and her motivation to do this film came from Jeremy O. Harris. Now, he's the guy who wrote who did the play Slave Play. Where it's like this erotic fantasy of women, black women and slave owners. Okay.
Wow.
Then you look into, like, and you pointed it out earlier, how the motivation for making this play is because she was upset that black men were getting too much publicity over black women when it came to police violence.
Mm-hmm.
And someone else pointed out her background, Trinidadian mother, black father. But the thing that really jumps out to me is that she's a military brat. She was born in Germany. She lived with her parents on a military basis. So this is a woman who was disconnected from the community. She didn't grow up around a lot of black men. You're on a military base, that's more of a multicultural thing. And the last thing I want to look at is that, I even looked it up and I found her boyfriend / husband, and he's not one of us.
Yeah.
Now, you can take all that information that you will with it. But I think that her willingness to demonize black men speaks to her background and who she associates with.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to say about it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Let us know what's coming up next for Layman's Journal. What's going on? What should we look out for?
Well, on the short term, I'm going to do another video on Dave Ramsey. Got to correct some of the stuff he puts out there. Okay. But as far as my Patreon, I'm going to be working on a movie called Blue Valentine. And you can catch me Monday through Fridays in the mornings at 7 a.m. where I go live. Though I don't think I'll be going live tomorrow. It's past my bedtime.
So 7 a.m. Eastern?
7 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
Cool.
Layman's Journal Live.
And make sure you all go to the Patreon and join up there. Excellent work. Got a good list you got a good archive of films you've covered. So, and make sure you also support Artisan MC Sunday mornings. I don't want to get the time wrong, damn it. So Artisan, I see you still popping around in the comment section. Let people know what time to check out, your Sunday morning shows. But but thank you, Layman, for coming through.
Thanks for having me, Doc. Glad to be here.
Man. Peace.
All right.
All right. So appreciate y'all sitting through that review. Kind of hoping that for those of you that really didn't care to see it, but just was curious what happened, you got what you needed. Not going to say anything if you want to go see it or whatever, but I'm really burnt on these films. I just do it to make sure we catalog, this misandry. We make sense of it, and we actually show how it's being used, how it may even be changing over time. So I like to kind of frame it along those lines. But I'll say there's about two things that are most important to me in regard to this film that I think needs to be taken into account. The first is that no man in this film has any qualities worthy of affection, respect, nothing. And I think that in and of itself is important because we're looking at how these films communicate ideas, not only to women, young women especially, letting them know that men are not worthy of love, consideration, respect, so on and so forth, but also the message it sends to young men that they too are unworthy. They are inherently problematic and therefore are going to be a problem to some woman somewhere, and that's all they are. I think these kinds of films produce that idea, and I think we need to call these kind of things out. The second thing that I want to point out is the almost, if you ever watch the film, you kind of see it, the almost ritualistic killing of the father, most particularly the black father. Now, I can say across race, I've been seeing the assassination of the father for years in media, in popular media, but in black media, when you look at the history of Black America in particular, and you see the assault on black men in society, it's interesting to note how fervent and intense it is in the black community, and particularly in black media. The death of the father in this film is almost ritualistic in terms of how it's carried out. It's carried out as an essential thing. It's carried out as a necessary thing, as an inevitable thing, and that in some respect, it suggests that the black father as an idea needs to die. Because by the end, you get this girl walking off on her own as a single mother. No mention of the boyfriend that got her pregnant. No mention of any other men. Right. So I think what we're seeing with these messages is the elimination of men in general, but most particularly the father, who's known for setting order, setting direction, so on and so forth. That's interpreted as nothing more than being domineering and, in line with this film, monstrous. And there are plenty of Black men that have nothing to do with that narrative and who've only demonstrated the very opposite, that do not get mentioned in popular media to any great degree at all, let alone in Black feminist media. So just want to put that out there. Those are a couple of the things that I think are most important to look at. Other than that, I appreciate you being willing to sit through this. And I look forward to your comments in the comment section, whether you've seen it or not. If you have something to say about what you've seen, please make sure you share that. All right. Other than that, I hope y'all have a good one. And let me see if I missed anything. Okay, I think we're good. And I will holler at y'all later. Peace. I am here to tell you, brothers, we are not criminals by birth, perennial rapists, incapable intellects, man-children, sperm donors, child support wellsprings, success objects, walking phalluses, ATM machines, lottery tickets, unintelligent henchmen, valueless assassins, pro bono mercenaries, unpaid bodyguards, interchangeable stepfathers, child discipline proxies, unpaid repairmen, workhorses, emotional tampons, or any other socially accepted dehumanizing stereotype. We are thinkers, inventors, innovators, leaders, fathers, and men. Embrace your humanity, know your worth, and extend your time, attention, and resources only to those who genuinely respect you. And remember, your worth is not defined by meeting other people's narcissistic and selfish and unrealistic needs. You define your worth. Peace.